second hold here. All right.
Welcome to the BCMF post after action report regarding Operation Acolyte 2 Imminent Resolve. So we can resolve some issues here, go over some positives, some negatives, expectations, and players' perspectives, of course.
Yeah, and also submitted player AARs. Yeah, as of right now, let's go over some admin's perspective of what's going on, what happened. From your eyes, how did it go?
I would say it's satisfactory overall. There's definitely some areas that needs improvement. Primarily is following direction. Have you read the fancy tax op? And then number two is following a chain of command and just sticking with it, really. Especially when you have an opposing force that maybe not as experienced that wanted to jump in there for leadership, which is fine. I commend those who did it, and they did it to the best of their ability. Definitely need to check up on your troops, though. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is make sure they're ready with you for the long haul, and make sure the morale is up. Because if their morale is not up, you will have attrition. You'll have drop.
So I guess we'll start off with that. I guess we'll just sort of dive into some of the topics that you're talking about. Troop leading. Do you think it's something that BCMF should dive into?
Yes, we've had a few courses on it, but it's been such a small community interested in taking the course that I feel like those individuals excelled really well in the sim. Those who have not had the time to, or have not taken that course, not necessarily lacked it, but they didn't quite have the discipline or the foresight to actionably follow through.
Yeah, because in the military there is TPLs or TLPs, troop leading procedures that
Absolutely.
they have to follow. But seeing that the airsoft community is always hands down like they want to shoot first, so it's kind of the reverse direction.
And that's what's funny because we did have a lot of instances where it was shoot first and ask questions later, and it was blue on blue, and it was also red on blue. And
Yeah.
It was also a couple of instances where coalition forces have opened up fire on regular civilians. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So seeing that some of the graduates from your courses took some of the leadership positions, I think it shows that it does help a lot compared to someone who hasn't taken a course or anything like that, hasn't taken a course, a fire course, or even just like leading a fire team even.
Yeah.
So I see a huge difference there. So I'll leave it at that because it's just, you just need experience with it. It's just hard to get it, especially when you jump into a regular airsoft game. There is really no leadership sort of. You just go out there and you have a flashpoint and that's it. Like you shoot and that's it.
It's a free for all.
Yeah,
It's chaos.
It's it's far different. Like Milsims is predominantly driven towards, a chain of command, following orders, and a lot of boredom. So it's quite different from what a regular Sunday game is.
But even in that boredom, if you look around, you could find clues on what to do next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask your higher.
Exactly.
Do you have any orders?
Yes.
That's the best advice I could give to any rifleman.
Yeah.
Is what are your orders? What do you want me to do?
Go do this. Report back to me.
Yeah.
Stay on comms. Don't go rogue for 4 to 5 hours. We stayed at the field and did post cleanup as well. And the funny thing is, I made sure I walked the perimeter because I thought they were still out there. It's like that lone guy in World War II that is still living on the island and thinks the war is going on.
Or the guy in the Philippines, the Japanese guy in the Philippines who thought the war wasn't even over after almost 40 years.
That's dedication. He should be a general and should get back pay, to be honest. Raw.
So that's your perspective on things. What else did you see that you liked or didn't like or anything like that?
What I saw, and of course my experience was just confined mostly to coalition until I relinquished my command and then decided to hit the front lines. I like the willingness for people to step up and take certain roles. One of our courses was use of radios, and we didn't really dive too deep into it. we threw Reese into an RTO position.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
No offense, no offense. The boy is dumber than a box of rocks for various reasons. Love you. Or box of crayons for that matter. But he stepped in and he met and exceeded expectations that I know people who were in the industry for a couple of years that kind of got thrown into that role and just could not make it, could not hack it whatsoever. I see him juggling two different radios at the same time, and I'm like, this is great. He's doing good.
Yeah, no, not bad for someone who's new at it. Not a lot of experience with it. I mean, that's the point of these games or milsims is that you want people to expose themselves to something that they're not comfortable with, that is not familiar to them. The point is, if you want to jump into a leadership position, you're going to fail badly regardless.
Oh, you have to.
You have to fail.
Or else you don't learn anything.
Yeah. If you want to jump in as a rifleman, that's why you want to jump in as a rifleman. You're going to fail a few times, but hey, it's less responsibilities than someone high above you. And then you move up to a team leader position, squad leader position. The more responsibilities you get, the higher chances you are going to fail. And there's a lot of responsibilities that's burdened on your shoulder.
Yeah, because if you don't fail, you ain't learning.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
Sorry guys. If you're listening in the Discord, I forgot to hit the mute button 30 seconds after I started recording, so don't worry about it. Audio quality should be good still. So moving on. Do you want to still continue? Your likes and dislikes of what you saw.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a lot of attrition on the opposing force team.
Separatists, you mean?
Yeah, separatists. Yeah. A lot of it was maybe experience. Age was probably a factor at some point, but I have to say that the last bit of the younger group was less than a dozen of them that still kind of held it down to the end. Which was really good.
They stuck. I would say it was better than the last event. Because wetter.
Yeah.
And it just got cold for a lot of people. But I think this time around, people had the right stuff. I think it's just unfortunate that the separatist side had a little bit more of a morale, decay faster than the Fed side.
Yeah. But I also have to say from an administrative point of view, they didn't read their first two mission briefs because they were not supposed to leave their AO before 1930.
Ooh, that's not good.
Because of that, they missed out on some great intel, a very specific scenario that was tailored for them, and the follow-up scenario, which they would have started with their resources for their base. They missed out on that.
Oh.
There's a lot of missions that they missed out on because either intelligence wasn't gathered or they were still so focused on the actual engagement and having a meaningful engagement. And I understand that, from a perspective that when you're paying for an experience, you want to do what you want to do. But unfortunately, there's times with the military simulation, you have to sort of go with the flow because you're going to miss out actionable events and things that'll trigger further down the line. At some point in the night, when I stepped away and went to the front, so to speak, I actually had to toss out, I'd say 3-4 missions for that side and another 2 for coalition. It kind of went off the rails, but which goes with the age-old saying how no plan survives first contact.
Yep.
And I had contingency plans for that. But I was really surprised it went so far off the rails in the very beginning to the fact that we
You're already at plan C at that point. Right?
Yeah. And we had to, make the ceasefire about an hour and a half
An hour early, I believe. Yeah. But speaking of the ceasefire, do you think that helped from our previous Operation Acolyte to now? Do you think that helped the attrition rate sort of not expire faster? Like a little bit of that, ceasefire rest?
It did in some point for the overall morale, but by triggering this ceasefire, I think Coalition was really upset because they were on point for the majority of the sim, and to be told to pull back is very disheartening. And I felt really bad for them. Same thing with the end of the sim as well. But that was also breakdown in communication, because do you remember my radio call?
What was the radio call?
Operation Imminent Resolve is a go.
Is a go, yes.
Is a go, I repeat. I think I already called that 3 or 4 times and just
that was like
did not happen.
The previous sim and then for the FBI side, I called it Koresh.
Koresh. Oh my
If
god.
if you know the reference, that's why
Yeah.
that was my go code for basically like, okay, it's the final swarm, let's go hit him hard, and
Oh,
then
Stevie.
yeah.
God. Everyone's like, hey, this is so much like Ruby Ridge and Waco. And I'm like, you have no idea.
I mean, I did my background check and everything, and I made sure that that first sim I'd referenced a lot of it so that people would get it.
No.
This time around, it was a lot more investigative work and a lot more counterterrorism work at this point.
Oh man, it was like that scene in Sunny in Philadelphia. And when I saw that board and like everything was tied up and connected together, I was like, damn. And the funny thing is, being a grunt, being in the Corps for so long, I never got a chance to see a lot of those boards, probably
Yeah.
because not enough crayon colors for me.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. But I read yours and I'm like, this is really detailed. This is great.
Yeah.
The fact that one point in time that you had a detainee come in and one of your guys handed me their dossier that you guys filled out, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, we got him. It was great. It was really
Yeah,
great.
it was awesome having those like I guess we'll talk about the story here, but how the story links up from the previous one.
Yes.
What time frame? It was about 48 hours
It was supposed to
basically.
be 48 hours afterwards. So the last sim pretty much ended with suicide bomber first at the base, and then eventually them just getting quite angered and just rallying up the troops and to take church.
Yeah.
So at the very end, we didn't get the okay for smoke and stuff like that. So we first wanted to introduce poisonous gas and all that from the doctor and his brother, the chemist.
The chemist, yeah.
Spoiler alert. His brother is the chemist.
I was so close to getting the chemist,
Yeah,
like figure it
totally,
out. But
totally.
story-wise, I'm not gonna spoil anything if my character doesn't see it right. So
Right.
Yeah.
No, totally. We're so against metagaming. Anyway, so 48 hours later, the fort is still in shambles. It's explosive ordnance. They booby trapped other various points around there, and then there was supposed to be a last HRT team that was supposed to make it out, but
Yes.
the HRT team lead was late to the sim.
Yeah,
He
I
was-
wonder
he
who
was-
that HRT team lead is.
I don't know, but I'm very proud of him because his kit was squared away and he didn't drag anything in the dirt this time.
Good.
Yeah. Love you, Matt. But it was really good because that event was what was supposed to kick everything off.
Yep.
And if the SEPs read their first two mission ops, they would have realized that they weren't supposed to leave their area and the grids. And they would have triggered essentially what we dressed up as a Black Hawk Down scenario, to where they were supposed to engage the fallen HRT and
Yep.
take them hostage. Yeah, they were
Well,
supposed
they
to-
escaped.
yeah, they escaped.
Yeah, Metro did a good job leading them.
Yeah. And shout out to the guys that were from Kelowna, first time at the field, and just threw Metro into that role, and I was really proud of him.
That shows initiative and leadership right there. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Well, at first I was like, Metro, you're leading the Kelowna guys out on this first mission
well,
instead.
he got voluntold, but he
Yes.
took initiative.
Yes. After, yes.
Yeah, it was pretty darn good that when I saw him at the base, I'm like, oh, welcome back. I guess we could start our briefing.
Exactly. And that was like the longest time. Yeah, it was just great. It was
Oh,
great.
yeah. Let's get back on track here. Where were we? So as far as expectations, was it met for your point of view, like from the previous game to now, or like what you had set to?
It was only a couple of minor issues. One, base defense, people willing to stand guard and do that instead of just wanting to go out and engage. The thing about a milsim is it's a storyline and it's a simulation.
Yeah.
And there's certain aspects you just have to go with it. At one point, I know people were getting bored and what have you. So instead of having them be bored for 5-10 minutes, I was like, screw it. We're just gonna go full send, and I just started, planning out on the map and then tracking radio calls and just have a strong basis of where everyone is deployed at,
Yep.
and just go from there and make sure they have actionable engagements. And it's really funny because a couple of times I've actually purposely deployed them where I knew the enemy was, and it just didn't happen. People were really careful, and I think they went on like some serious recces. which was good. So hopefully they enjoyed that.
As far as like communications was concerned, I would say it did pretty well. Initially, yeah, Reese can test it as well. The communication was very good at the very beginning. Everybody responded to radio calls. There was no back and forth chatter in the assigned comms that they were with.
No, no.
And that was impressive. And having to only talk to TLs or
Yes.
squad leaders or SLs,
Yes.
that was impressive because
Yes.
we were getting accurate information. And of course, you had the board where you had little army men
Yeah.
on the larger map.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because that basically brings it back to basics of like having a command structure and and squads where you're just putting pieces on the board and you're putting where the enemy was and the team leaders and as well as squad leaders are reporting in
They can
what they're
visualize
seeing.
it.
And we were getting accurate reporting, so that gave us sort of an overall idea of what we have to do in the tactical operations center, how to talk. And yeah, Reese did a good job of communicating back and forth. We just tell him, hey, we need an update from this guy. We need an update from this squad. All right, yeah. Or he's like, oh, squad one, or QRF or Alpha Squad reported in saying this, and this, and then we were just updating the board as we.
The one thing I never even taught him was like, say for instance, if you're moving friendly forces from point A to point B,
Yep.
he actually radioed the other one saying QRF1, friendlies traveling north to south along grid Echo 04 to Echo 06. How copy? And then they were like, QRF1 copies, friendlies moving north to south.
Yeah.
I was like, damn,
Yep.
that made me happy.
That's some pretty good Met TC there. You got to know where your friendlies are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to report in where you are, so that we know in the map where you are, and good to report what you see. Right. Sometimes you just got to sit down and do like a SILS report. Smell, look, listen,
Yeah.
and sight, and yeah, just report that in, and then afterwards continue with your task, mission, whatever it is you're doing. Right. It made so much sense for you guys just to keep reporting in, because at the end of the day, information, even the smallest type, can win a battle right away.
Absolutely.
And yeah, even for us commanders, in the talk, sending out reports saying, hey, you got friendlies moving parallel to you, or you're gonna cross friendlies up ahead, just be careful, don't shoot, or there's friendlies in a cabin sort of deal. It mitigates that friendly fire. It adds that excitement as well for people.
And also, there was and the other thing that helped was also having the various teams on different comms as well.
Yeah.
The FBI had their own channel.
Yep.
Coalition forces had their own, and then SOF had another.
Yeah.
The other thing was QRF2, the one that disappeared, went rogue.
Yeah.
The SOF found them at a certain point, and
Yep.
they asked them to identify. They refused to identify, so SOF radioed in and cleared engage, and I was like, light them up. Which is a definite no-no, by the way. But I was hoping it would be a learning experience. And then all of a sudden I saw them all, back at base, and I'm like, oh, I guess they didn't learn because it happened again. But that's fine. It is what it is.
Report in, guys.
Report.
We need to know what assets are out there, right? We need to know your force strength. Because if you're just going rogue out there, we're going to end up, pincering you somehow, and then we're like, oh, it's you guys. Why don't you guys report in?
Exactly.
We're basically chasing our tail.
Exactly. But my admin experience would be completely separate from other admins. Duxter was out there. He was my little chaos monkey. He was mostly working with the other team to put out smoke and create distractions and also drop intel for them. I don't know if he succeeded in that last bit, but he was definitely popping so much smoke. It was unbelievable. It was extremely thick, and Riot was helping out them as well. He was a hunter, a soul hunter, essentially. An admin over there.
I was sad there wasn't a lot of hunters this time around. They were the difference in the first game because they were friendly,
Yeah,
but they were also disruptive.
extremely.
I don't know what happened this time around, but there was only like, what, 2 or 3 of them?
Yeah,
showed up?
Yeah, two of them. Kat, she filled both roles as both like Pepper Sep and then also Hunter, which was great.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I was so surprised at that arrest I was completely caught off guard.
Oh, the arrest in the base.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we were actually discussing the dossier that was just submitted to us by our missing FBI that just came in. So we went through the reports and then found that there's some connections in the board that were happening.
Oh.
And then, Cat all of a sudden shows up in the reports, not the dossier, but the
Yeah.
reports, and then all the other affidavits that I got from all these other players that are coming in and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is getting suspiciously close to chemist territory. What is going on here?
Man.
And then so I issued an arrest warrant,
Yeah.
and then afterwards we're like, oh, she's here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Nick goes, all right, I'm going to make this quick.
It just did an arrest.
Yeah,
Oh, my
right
God.
there at the base.
I got to say, though, during the ceasefire, that green sludge that they had, which was their meal of choice for the separatists
Yeah.
and the cultists, amazing. The best split pea soup I've had in forever. I believe that's number 9 in MREs. Blows it away, by the way. No, no, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I actually had 2 cups. And then I looked for leftovers later on. And I'm like, all right, I got to stay in character. Where's my cigar? But yeah.
That's why you disappeared over that side.
I totally did. I was so hungry. I knew I was going to be up for like a day and a half.
Yeah.
But I want to tap Gravy, bring Gravy in and get his admin perspective. Because
Yeah.
it's really funny. We were on the same grounds. I did not see him for the majority of the sim, maybe twice.
Oh, okay.
And I have no idea
Yeah.
what happened.
So, Gravy, you could jump in here. I could
No, I'm
take
gonna
myself
step. I'm
out.
gonna step out.
You got to step out? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
1 second.
All right, so we're bringing in Gravy here. He was our town mayor. All right, let me know when you have that on. Yeah, you got to get real close to it. Okay, here we go. All right, just speak right here. Yep.
Here, we're good.
All right, so Gravy, what was your role in this entire event?
I was the mayor again.
Yeah.
So this time I just kind of wanted to watch the LARP.
Yeah, no, I didn't see you doing a lot more than leave the CP and then deal with admin things and then come back and then you're still dressed up and just comment here and there. So what did you end up doing most of the day or most of the night there?
Well, I guess this has become a ritual now, but helped cook and
Oh, yes.
create our barbecue. And at one point, Kaz came walking in, or
Into the 7-Eleven shop there, whatever you had set up.
into our city,
Yeah.
just on
Out
his
of nowhere?
own.
So
Our missing
so in
sheriff
character,
showed up.
McCree showed up
Correct.
basically out of nowhere and just turns himself in, or what happened there?
I just came in for a burger, and I realized we just let him walk into our city because friendly McCree. So that was the one really actionable thing I did, was then arrest him and bring him to you, because no one else seemed to.
This was a citizen's arrest, I see.
Yeah. 'cause what choice do I have when he's made it all the way to city?
So tell us a little bit of background for people who don't know. What happened to McCree from the last event? Do you recall?
Well, so Sheriff McCree was my right-hand man the whole last sim.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
somewhere in the explosion and everything, he disappeared on
Yeah.
us. And it was baffling to look up from cooking burgers and my friendly sheriff's just walking back into town. Oh, so calmly, that made me concerned. And then he mentioned the fact that he had been brainwashed by the other team. And I was hesitant to believe that he wasn't fully undone from that. So I felt the best
Well, that was a
choice
good call. You sent him in. We as the FBI element, we questioned him twice on what his motives are. Oh, they're starting the game at the back. But yeah, we questioned him a few times. I put him on my suspect board and everything, and we were trying to figure out who was his friend that was captured
Right.
with him, because all this time we were trying to figure out who was captured with him.
Did
right.
we ever get down to that?
Actually, we did. So probably close to midnight when we got back into the game, he was blurting out some nonsense from his memory
Right,
of what's
right.
going on. And then me and my chief inspector as well, Nick, we were looking at the board and we're like, I think we're missing something here. And then he comes in. He's like, I think I remember now. In character, right? I think I remember now. It's not who I was with. It was who was working with me. And I'm like, wait a second. Don't sheriffs have deputies? And then that's when I went ahead and said, who was working with Lieutenant Dan at that time with the sheriff's office? And we asked you. It's like,
Tony.
Tony. That was the deputy. So we issued a warrant for Tony's arrest, but we didn't get to the bottom of it. That was the link to the end. But then,
I guess that
McCree-
explains why you never left church.
yeah, McCree also mentioned something about he showed a video of howling in
Right.
the background and such. So that also linked to Kat's like warrant as well,
Right.
because we were trying to figure out what's causing all these like horns mutate. He said, the horns are gone now.
Yeah.
So we were so close to like linking all these things together, right? And then kind of lunchtime afterwards, it kind of just the LARP kind of died after that. But we, provided we were still taking in information as we went. But it was pretty good. Like we got so close to doing all that stuff.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just wanted to sit back and watch the LARP this time.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, it died after food.
Yeah, I think everybody just wanted to basically just like sling BBs at that point,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in an airsoft game. Yes, you're in an airsoft game, but you're also in a scenario / Milsim event. So
And I think the LARP boiled down to the people that were thrown into things.
yeah,
Like Reese and Metro that
Yeah.
just grabbed it and went and succeeded majorly with it. And that was really cool to sit back and watch and not just see one side of if I was out in the field, but to
Yeah.
actually see it all work together and the newbies just dive right into it. And
Yeah.
that was awesome.
it was a nice combination in this event because you didn't really have a lot of LARPers, but there was enough to go around with and play around with. Versus there was enough people to basically man the posts and stuff. Unfortunately, the Separatists were outnumbered pretty darn high. It's like a 2-to-1 ratio.
I
Almost.
heard 2-to-1, but
I don't think
it
so.
was 2-to-1.
I don't think so. Yeah, because they had a pretty good, healthy start at the very beginning. So it was.
I
yeah.
believe they had.
Thank you. Oh, Jill just gave me food here. Thank you,
Oh,
Jill.
nice. I believe they had 12 more at the start of the game on paper.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really know where the 2-to-1 came from, unless there was more than just Tony not leaving church.
Okay. Well, there's some leadership that we got to deal with there, but yeah, admins will take note of that as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I think for everybody, the successes and failures, it was a good learning experience in every aspect. I think everybody that attended learned something about it. If it would just be that, oh yeah, Sims, you might just be on patrols doing nothing, to you might be thrown into a whole new role and you got to master it.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see what was going on in the Tactical Operations Center while you were hanging out in there?
Yes.
What did you think of the Armistad's way of just commanding?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think that was the most LARP that was at the field that night. And it worked so well. I mean, I wish we had filmed it from above and watched that.
Yeah, and watch
progression.
it like in a time lapse. Watch
Right.
it go. I'll keep that in mind next time.
Yeah.
I'll try and put a tripod on top. But yeah, that was an interesting aspect. Something that you don't see, like what we call helper aids, basically. And that's something that you don't see often on Milsims. And but you playing brand new to airsoft, you're still pretty new.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing that sort of level of command, like it's awesome for you, right?
Yeah, it was really cool, and I could see everybody that would come in and look at it just like get that eagerness again to go back out because
Yeah.
they could see everything developing and how close they were. It really made me want to go out, but at this point we had heard about the numbers being a 2-to-1 ratio, so that was part of my reason to just sit back and watch.
Yeah. But overall, what do you think of the entire experience?
It was fantastic. I mean, every like I said, when you're learning and taking things in from it's always a bonus. And even though there was some frustration through the nights, overall everybody had a fantastic time, and everybody learned something new. So we can always take that and move on forward with it.
Okay, that's good. Anything else you want to say for the next event or anything like that?
Let's just LARP harder, guys. I mean, that's
So you're more of the LARP type than the airsoft game type.
well. I mean, that comes down to both roles. Because you want to come to a milsim, are we just going to go run and gun, or are we going to LARP that you're on a patrol and you have tasks and missions to achieve? That's all part of it at the end of the day too. If you just want to run and gun, well, we'll see you Saturday and Sunday. But we can LARP hard on both sides. If it's you're a town cook, a mayor, or just a rifleman, take that role and own it.
And I also want to comment at the end of the event, what did you think of collecting all the trash at the end of the day? Because there's still a lot of trash left at the field, and all these, I think it should be policy, that we should have people ruck in and then ruck out and then carry out all their trash.
I mean, it's unfortunate we have to mention that. I mean, we live in BC, and we've been raised with ruck it in, ruck it out. And just because you're at a facility doesn't mean it's any different. That we're in a forest, and appreciate nature and not destroy what we have here to play in.
Okay. Well, we'll take it from there.
Thanks for having me.
Mayor Wimbley of Oakboro Hills.
Always
We'll
a
see you
pleasure.
again for our next one.
Of course.
All right.
Thanks for appreciating my Sunday relaxed close.
All right. So we'll get Logan next here. Logan he's coming in here. All right. So what were you, Sergeant Crayons or something? or?
I was Sergeant Jones, was
Sergeant
my proper name,
Jones.
but my call sign was Crayon.
Crayon.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your role and responsibility for the entire
So
sim?
my official title was Sergeant of the Guard. So I was, in a way, just kind of in charge of the National Guard team. I wasn't assigned to any specific fire team. I was just kind of jumping from squad to squad, really, whoever needed me. Yeah, it was kind of a mix of admin and infantry, actual combat roles. But yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. Loved it.
Yeah, you're basically hustling people around at base defense.
Precisely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big part of it.
What a sergeant usually does.
Yeah, exactly.
And how was the levels of boredom / enthusiasm when someone says, "Oh, you're assigned to base duty"?
Yeah,
How difficult is it for like not non-military but airsoft
Sure.
people?
Totally, yeah. I feel like it was way better than last milsim. I remember last time no one wanted to do guard duty. Well, we didn't have a perimeter, and the doctor walked in and blew up the base. But
Lesson
this
learned,
time-
right?
The lesson definitely
Yeah.
learned. No, it was actually pretty good this time. I think part of it is we had some newer players that were kind of more open to taking orders and just kind of sitting around, which is great for them. I mean, we tried to get everyone up and going actually on a combat mission, not
Yep.
just sitting at base all day. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised with how people responded to base duty, because it was definitely, well, there's no contact whatsoever at the base at night, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So
I was expecting, like, from the previous sim, the hunters walking in.
yeah,
We didn't really have anyone sign up for civilians. There was only
Exactly, yeah.
the mayor and his crew that were technically civilians.
yeah.
So to gain entry to a place, it was basically, we deemed that the DMZ was basically like, airsoft side here.
Right, exactly.
And we deemed it that, they're allowed to do, what is it, open carry?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we did a bunch of videos on that.
Yeah.
So hopefully to promote the concealed carry things.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of players that came in.
No. I think
Other than Prax. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
We'll tell you a little bit later, but
Yeah.
other than that, in the
Hunters.
DMZ, you guys saw like what, 3 or 4 hunters, turned them around,
Hunters.
arrested Looney multiple
Yeah,
times.
Looney, I was about to say.
Yeah. Other than that,
Yeah.
if there was more interactions for Hearts and Minds, sort of
Exactly.
like counterinsurgency, that would have been better
100%.
in the long run for players' experiences, right?
Definitely.
We did go through arrest phase, detention phase, having hunters come in, open carry things, and being allowed to just roam around without being questioned, right? Well, they'll question you if you're using open
Yeah,
carry.
exactly.
But did you see a lot of that, or was it something that was like sort of meh?
Yeah, I feel like the first kind of 2 hours, there's a lot of action. A lot of people are coming in and out. We had actually sometimes more people coming into the base than actual guards. That was a bit of a logistical challenge, processing everyone, making sure they don't have any concealed weapons or anything to pose a harm to our base. But yeah, I know we had a couple hardcore people. Shout out to them who have just stayed at the base really the whole time. And yeah, shout out to them because that's obviously no one really wants to do that, but they did a great job.
That's the hard part about sims like these is someone is gonna get base duty regardless.
Exactly.
But we do our best to rotate them as much as we can.
Precisely.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
go on. Sorry.
The first 2 hours, there's quite a lot to do for perimeter guard. A couple people walked in without anyone noticing, so I kind of gave them a firm talking to about how to do proper perimeter guarding. But no, honestly, we're all learning. We're all making mistakes. It's not like I'm a professional at this by any means. But I just kind of give them a few tips. Scan here, kind of rearrange some people.
Yep.
We had a really good perimeter after that.
Yeah. So how big was their perimeter anyway? What was the green zone? Is what
we
were.
had. So I want to say it kind of depended at time how many squads were out on patrol, but we had between 2 and 4 squads patrolling our perimeter, primarily Alpha and Bravo to start. So those were
What was their force size usually?
6 people per squad, I think, about that.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
So we had between 12 and maybe 12 and 20 people about. We had a pretty big perimeter though, but no, it was held really well actually throughout the sim. But yeah, we had a couple people maybe 4 hours and kind of complaining, hey, can we actually do something instead of sitting out here? And then that's kind of when we were taking contact. So kind of got a little challenging
Yeah,
there.
so once the action started, everybody just kind of just dropping from base defense, like, oh, I want to get involved, and then all of a sudden we see leaks in our defense. We're basically just like, okay, well, Alpha's starting to creep forward towards the action.
The perimeter just got larger.
The perimeter got larger and larger,
Exactly.
and then everybody's like, okay, well, we just lost Alpha, and they're just out there playing now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of expect, right? We're playing Airsoft. It's a Milsim. Yeah, we did definitely have some new players, and they obviously wanted to get some action. There's shout out to the kid who came in the police outfit. That was his first time playing Airsoft.
Oh, yes, with his dad, right?
Yes, with his dad. He did a great job. That was really impressive. I did not have high hopes for him, but he exceeded my expectations.
Oh, that's
so,
good.
No, shout out to him.
Good to see dad and son combo playing in here.
Yeah, I tried to put them together on perimeter.
That's good.
And yeah, they worked
hopefully
together.
They got some action out of it because I think they left early as well.
I think they did. Yeah. No, but hopefully it went well. When I was talking to them, it seemed like they enjoyed it. So, yeah, just you guys did a great job. Shout out to them.
Okay, that's good. What are some good and bad experiences you had? We can start off with the bad.
Sure, yeah. I think kind of just the team balance. We had such a strong team on Coalition Forces that it just wasn't, from what I've heard, it wasn't fun for the Separatists for the first kind of half of it there. Yeah, so I think getting, kind of throughout the Milsim, getting those orders that Matt directly disobeyed it was more story-based of hold here, and in the moment. I'm not going to lie, I was with Matt. I was kind of saying, hey, Poi doesn't know the situation, we do. I think it's better to push forward. Looking back, it's not because that was a tactical decision, that was an admin decision. Sorry for that. I think we pushed a little too aggressively. I mean, it's a good thing, but yeah, I think team balance was definitely a big thing. Commander's intent wasn't exactly 100% clear, so no one had a really great idea of what we were doing precisely. I think we all knew we wanted to catch the bad guys, arrest them or kill them, but like there was no goal. There was no we win if we do this. There was no official commander's intent.
Okay, we'll note that down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have been helpful. Because we're different fire teams, or sorry, different squads were being sent on different missions. Do this here, do that here, go to this bridge, go to that bridge, do a perimeter. Okay, great, but why? Why are we doing this? What's the big picture, right? So that was something that I think could be improved on in the future. But overall, I think it was massive success. Obviously had its issues, but every event's going to. Way better than last time, so that means we're improving, which is great. Yeah, I think maybe a little more action too in the 12.
Being stuck at base defense, I get it. Yeah.
So I did quite a bit of both base defense and going out.
Yep.
And in my 12 or 13 hours was the game.
Something like that.
Yeah. I had 5 minutes of contact and fired 50 rounds, and that was it. So I mean, here's the thing, I was expecting that because that's realistic. That's a mil-sim. I paid for a mil-sim. I know it's not technically a mil-sim, but whatever. It's the idea of it. So I think people were expecting a 13-hour day game, and that's not what they signed up for. They signed up for a military simulation experience.
Yeah.
So I think being a little more clear on, it's not going to be a firefight for 13 hours. You're going to be hiking. You're going to be walking. Hurry up and wait, right?
Yeah.
Like it's...
So, yeah, just to put perspective on that, when you're watching movies, when you're watching action movies, it's not...
Yeah.
They're not showcasing the boring day-to-day tasks.
If you want
the documentaries will.
If you want a real movie, watch Jarhead. That is a good movie. My entire Milsim experience was Jarhead. I actually, when we were going to church with Matt, I said, I turned over to him and I whispered, Matt, this is just Jarhead. It was it was painful, which is fun, right? Because I highly recommend the movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what you're going to get in a Milsim.
Yeah. A lot of it is basically when you watch a movie, it's flashpoints, right?
Exactly.
Like when something happens, that's basically the climax, and then you have to resolve it from there.
Yeah, they're trying to get the exciting parts.
In a sim, I understand that it's going to be boring at some parts, but this is a simulation. It's supposed to be treated as so, like what day-to-day task is when someone's going out on patrols.
Or night to night.
Yeah, or night to night, yeah. That's, stand one, stand two. So, overall, what do you think?
I thought
From
it was
the
a
first
success.
one to the second one?
Oh, definitely. Second was way better. I don't know if that's partially just because I was still relatively new to Airsoft at the first one. I still really am, but I've gained a lot more knowledge by now. And I think it was definitely way more successful than the first, partially just because we had that larger area. We're not confined.
Yeah.
I mean, just across the river, there's one way to push.
Yep.
I think having the two bridges, that was a much more difficult strategically to cover both. And no, going through the river, that's not a bridge. You can't do that. Don't do that again. That doesn't count.
We know who you are.
Yeah, don't do that. But no, I think that was definitely a big thing. We had a more dynamic story. We had a proper briefing, which wasn't interrupted by a firefight halfway through the first one. Spent so much hard work building that great slideshow.
So I think that was
three slides in, boom.
I think just to jump into that was part of the reason that the FBI had a little bit more knowledge of what was going on is because they had a full briefing.
Exactly.
Like 2 hours after the event started.
Exactly.
Just to give an idea of what is to be expected, like commander's intent, what's to be expected.
Precisely.
So I think we'll think about something like that later on.
Totally.
Because it is hard to get everybody moving when everybody's out there.
Definitely.
And then trying to recall them back in to basically say, hey, we're having a briefing on what's going on and what you're doing. Because initially, before you even step out, you're going to have this big briefing, your op ord, basically.
Exactly.
And you get your op ord, and then you step out. Right. In this one, we stepped out, and then I waited until everybody gathered up again, my FBI guys.
Precisely, yeah.
Which was not a lot of people, like 8 people.
Right, exactly.
And then
I
had a big briefing on that. Expectations, what to do in an arrest phase, communications, and then everything from what's the mission, what are we here for, and what's your task at this point, and what's my intent. I went through all that, and wonderful slides and everything. And so something like that.
I think that's crucial for everyone. just to understand what exactly
Again,
we're doing.
difficult because we've already stepped out, and then
Precisely.
you're going to have half of people getting fragmented orders.
Exactly. So
As-
I think
as
if
you go along.
if we ruck out whatever times 8, and the game starts at 9, that gives us a full hour to set the base up, get everything ready, put your kit on, do a briefing, make sure everyone's clear, answer any questions. I think this whole Acolyte 2, it was the definition of the fog of war. No one had any idea what was going on.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on as a sergeant of the guard. I was radioing orders, relaying orders. I don't know what they're for. I was just told to do it. Which again was a great experience to learn what that's actually like.
It's
It's not like the movies.
Yeah, coming from military experience, you're gonna be like, oh,
Precisely.
well, I don't even know what I'm doing, and this is the little module. No one will know the greater story until we start doing an after action report like this.
Precisely.
So we get an idea of what's happening
Yeah.
at the end of it. Yeah, like I said, everybody gets fragmented orders or fragos, and those fragmented orders only include things that you need to know.
Right.
Right. The commander has an entire overview of what's going on, and this is why it's important to get communications going so that we know we could
QRF2.
Yep. We could basically just, pile in all the information we have. We could write up an entire, objective, what we're doing, what needs to be done, what's missing.
Yeah.
And, what unit's missing and what unit we're looking for, right? So at that point, we get a greater idea of how we will basically push out to our mission. Basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. We'll do a better job of, doing some sort of op order briefing. But it's just like in real life, you plan and plan and plan, but the first when someone punches you right away, all that goes out the window, right?
What's the saying? The first plan never goes, or you're I'm
first.
having a stroke. You're,
Where's your crayon?
I need a crayon. Your plan never survives first contact. There we go. Right. I think that was a great example. For example, so we had intel that QRF2. I was at base at this time. I was talking to Reese. We had intel that QRF2 was at haunted cabin or two-story cabin.
Yeah.
Sorry. Supernatural. It was supernatural cabin. So I was ordered to. Our intel said we had 25 people there, so which was ridiculous. So I was sent alone to go get the 25 people, leave like 5 there, and bring 20 back so we could set up a more strong perimeter, which sounded like a really simple job. Walk 200 meters to 25 friendlies, say, I need 20 of you to come back, and then we walk back. Sounded like a pretty simple mission. And I got there and realized, why are there so many people with red lights? And oh my God, those are tracer rounds. And wow, that's gunfire. And then realized there's a full firefight going on, right?
Yep.
So my
and
intel
I
said,
had nothing
you had
on my side that was reporting.
Exactly. So I went in with, which is really on me, expecting a whole bunch of happy friendlies to be chilling around a campfire, and it was a full firefight, which was very unexpected. That was my 5 minutes of contact. But yeah, I think that just illustrates.
I believe that was like 3 a.m. or something that was happening.
I think it was earlier than that. I want to say it was more
2 a.m.
maybe 2 a.m. Yeah. Because it was a great example of just communication. It's a big game of telephone, right?
Yep.
Which is again realistic. That's what we're trying to do. It was fun. It was stressful, but that's what you signed up for. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
Do you have anything else to say? Future prospects or anything like that for next event?
More people should get Marine kits so we can have a full squad of Marines. I think that's crucial for the next sim.
Just more Pat and then start from there, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Hit me up, DM, if you want a Marine kit. I'm your guy. No, seriously. It was really well done.
So you're looking for unit cohesion. That's what you want.
I want to mill some West Squad is really what I want, boy. I know I'm not getting that, but a man can dream. So, no, in all seriousness, it went well. In the future, I think just delaying things to start. Like, I was just putting on my plate carrier, and Looney walked through the door and was like, we have a prisoner. I'm like, hold up. I didn't even know we started yet. Like, just let's take a breather.
That was like 10 minutes into the event, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Like I literally was putting on my gear and a prisoner walks through the door. I'm like, what? Yeah, I think a proper briefing at the start. Make sure each squad or fire team or team, whatever you want to call them, has a radio or multiple radios, because that communication, especially when we're doing the full map, it's so crucial. And you, Poi, Reese, and who else was there? Mike, doing logistics back at the base. I mean, you guys were the MVPs organizing everything, right?
Yeah, we were like the S3s and S4s basically.
Precisely. Like, you guys were awesome, especially Reese. You guys need that information. Where are you? What are you seeing? Is there enemy contact? So you don't send a lone person out to a full firefight.
Yeah, a messenger.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? It's, yeah, making sure that. But other than that, I mean, it went perfectly.
Perfect.
I shouldn't say perfectly. It went really well.
Okay.
It was a massive improvement over the first one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
All right. Perfect. Well,
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have Director Armistead here come back.
All right.
Okay. Just get your headset on there. All right. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So you heard a little bit of the feedbacks there from Gravian as well as Logan there. We'll just go over a little bit of that before we jump into some of the player AARs. So what do you think? Were there? I don't know if you were listening to both of them.
Yeah.
But what did you think of it? Like, what can we take from their feedbacks?
Probably instruction, set expectation, and hopefully they can follow it.
Yep.
We've been trying that
Yeah.
before this one as well, and those who have exceeded, those who haven't still treated it like a drop-in game and then dropped out.
Yeah,
so to speak.
I think we need a big disclaimer saying that this is more simulation, role play, not a Sunday game. We can't really put not a Sunday game because everybody expects to shoot,
Yeah.
but we don't want to lose the customer base at that point too.
No. But it's good. We have something in the works
Ooh.
that'll combat that. And then some.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to add to what they're saying there?
No, I really want to dive into player-based ones.
Yep.
I know he has something to do in 30 minutes from now, but if we can tap bring Prax in.
Yep.
Praxis, the Plague Bringer.
All right. So we'll bring in Prox here. Yeah, we have I think 1, 2, 3 speakers here that we could bring in as well. Guys, hands up if you want to speak as well. We'll let you in, and then we'll do your AAR as well on top of that. But all right, Prox, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right, perfect. So to start off, what was your role for this event?
Emotional support.
Emotional support.
Well, it started off quite optimistic, I suppose. Like, I remember the separatists had a little meeting and we were discussing plans, and I brought in a certain explosive device. I was super excited.
So you were the de facto leader of this cultist group, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I suppose I was. I didn't give out many orders though.
Okay, all right.
More just. I'm not sure. I don't have much to say that wouldn't be very. I'd say the mood is, for the most of the sim, was trying to be optimistic.
Got it. Okay.
One of the things that I'm really disappointed in myself for is not keeping the costume on longer, but it was.
I tell you
cutting
that
off.
that was really good on the costume. It looked really convincing. I love it.
Yeah. It was a lot of work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of screwing with my arm. Like, when I took it off, I couldn't bend my arm fully without searing pain, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
develop that. So.
Oh, okay. That
But I
explains
feel like if there's more enthusiasm, or if I was more excited, then I would have worn it for longer. But
Yep.
from the point we were rucking out, the mood kind of and morale kind of just started dropping.
Yeah, because your guys' spawn point is pretty far. It's clear across the other side of the
The church
The
side.
church side. It's a far rock, and
Well, it's not.
it's uphill too.
The rock was fine,
Mhm.
but when we got up there, I was sitting up top of church tower, and we, we didn't have any lights, no
Mhm.
Christmas lights,
Mhm.
no spotlights, and I was looking around, and one of our team leads was kind of giving orders, which not everyone was following, and
Mhm.
it was just looking around and seeing so few people and
Mhm.
such like I don't mind if it's new people to airsoft, but usually I like to pair new people with more experienced people and they can learn and they have support and all that sort of thing. But it just felt very one-sided, and
Mhm.
I remember Kaz and me were sitting up there, and soon after we were starting to take contacts like really quickly, which I didn't know. I
Mhm.
didn't expect we were gonna get you know butchered that quickly. So pretty much 90% of the separatist forces were dead at the start of the game, and Kaz was just okay. You know what? I'm bored. I'm gonna go get captured. I couldn't blame him because I kind of wanted to go with them.
Right.
I'm
Right.
kind of glad
Yep.
they refused to take me captive because at that point, if they had taken me captive, I probably would have just left a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And I would have missed having a chance to stab Poi, and that was fun, at least.
Oh, totally. But that's another thing that we wanted to bring up was that it was very unfortunate that the first two data packets that your side was giving was for you guys to hold up in your AO, but you had a rogue person come to city, but then that another rogue person took the data packet for the special operation force. And in that data packet, clearly stated what their rules of engagement were. They were not supposed to push your AO entirely until late in the evening, until a certain information packet was discovered. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
yeah, and then
Wait,
afterwards, your second and third data packet was just went missing from your side. And in it was
really?
instruction and information for you guys to steal resources from Fort Prairie, and then immediately afterwards you guys would have everything that you need for base.
I feel like if the fact we need to capture these data packets was more, I guess, thoroughly presented, or I don't know how to put it. I
Mhm.
guess if the data packets were more advertised as a vital part of the simulation, people would have been hunting for
they
these a bit more.
they were in the safety speech. My exact words were, the posted data packets are for your team and your team only. They're not to be captured. They're supposed to be used as information for resources and for management of your teams. On them is included in your radio frequency for your team and your direct missions. For example, on your first one, is essentially it was supposed to trigger a Black Hawk Down scenario. So that was the push off for you guys to actually leave your AO. And it says specifically that you're not supposed to leave your AO until this time frame.
Ah,
And it looks like either they weren't opened or whoever had them just kind of kept the information to themselves, and then the leadership kind of broke down after that, and then we dispatched two admins to go up there.
I just need to add, it was all in your tax off.
If
All
you
in the
read the
tax
fancy,
op.
if you read the fancy tax op,
I
yeah,
read
the
through the
information is
fancy
in there.
tax op.
That's good. I know you did. I mean, you're really good for that. Your attention to detail is amazing. But
I think, although
unfortunately,
on the
go ahead.
sorry,
Go ahead.
on the topic of tax op, I think I needed to spend a bit more time reading and rereading the tax op and other things so I could, I guess, better tell other people about it who maybe didn't read it, than work on a massive costume I was
Hmm.
taking
Hmm.
off like 10 minutes into the game because it's cutting off circulation. Like, I
Oh
feel a
yeah,
little
yeah.
embarrassed and disappointed that I spent so much effort on something that was basically, it felt like it was over in 10 minutes.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because your commitment to that character was amazing. The first Acolyte and showing up and building onto what you did for the second one was truly amazing. And hopefully, I hope you keep that costume because I have something that we're working on, and I hope you
What's
still have
left of it?
it. No, exactly, exactly.
I'm
Um,
still looking for that horn in the city. Maybe I'll find it one day.
we will check the grounds.
All right.
But any positives, any positive takeaways that you could think of for this experience, even if it's just a
Um,
learning experience?
well, I know one of the positives that kind of kept me going is it seemed like the guys on the FBI side were having a lot of fun, and that kind of made me happy. Like, hey, at least they're having a great time. Some of the new players, they seem to be having good times at times. I didn't really expect me trying to stab somebody would get that much traction.
Oh, it was amazing because
That was really
the
cool.
entire time during the every time they had a detainee and they were going through the processing of them, I never went over there. I figured that's their thing. But when you came in to camp and came into HQ, I was like, this is great. I want to see what Prax does. It's going to be amazing because I love having you around for the RP and the thematic elements. And then you pulled what you pulled, and the fact that you almost got poi if I wasn't there,
Oh yeah.
and you were probably
I thought I nicked him.
I'm not sure. And then you almost got me as well. It was like within millimeters of catching my blouse and me. And then I was just like, oh my God, what do we do? And then I just backed away. So if you move forward again, I didn't have a sidearm on me. I had nothing on me. My sergeant on the guard is gone. All of my guys are being deployed right now. It was just Nick.
Yeah.
And Nick just
and
finally
one
came
guard,
back on corner.
yeah.
He came around the corner, and that's when he got
Oh
you.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. He shot me like I don't know how many times. But he also got me in the pinky, and
Oh.
it is point blank. So it's like those blood bruises you can get
Yeah,
that swell
yeah.
up quite a bit. I
Oh,
got
man.
one of those, and it popped later.
Oh,
So it's
boy.
like blood covering my pinky, but it was certainly not the worst one I've had.
oh yeah.
It gives me fond memories. So
That's awesome. But Prax, I appreciate you, and thanks for jumping in here and sharing your experience with us.
well, I appreciate you guys, and I'm really looking forward to the next experience. And I'm gonna try and make the costume a bit more comfortable, maybe
Yeah,
even
yeah.
crazier.
Oh,
Make it
totally.
something that'll last a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, yeah. The claws were also last minute. I was intending to make bigger 3D printed ones, which I'm gonna follow through this time.
Yeah.
Mm,
Totally
okay.
awesome. All right,
We're looking
So-
forward to it. Yep.
All right. Well, I've got to get ready for work.
Alrighty.
All right.
You guys have a fantastic day, and thank
Will
you
do.
for having me on.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right. I guess
Man.
we'll start off with some player AARs then.
Definitely.
With I guess we could go with Reese first because he was in our tactical operations center.
Yeah.
He has his hands up here. All right, Reese, we're getting you in. There you go. Hello. Can you hear us?
Hey, Reese.
Hold up. Just gotta change my audio.
Change the audio.
There we go.
All right, there we
Perfect.
go. So tell us, what was your role in this whole thing, being that you cannot move at all?
I'd say my role was basically just to be on comms. I don't think there's like a really like a role name for what I did.
Yeah.
But I just sat in our HQ and made sure I knew where the teams were, what they were doing, and all the intel that they had. Yeah, so I basically sat at the table the entire time on radios and yeah, made sure everyone was alive.
So how was your experience being that's your first time doing such a relay of information as well as receiving information from multiple squads? You're basically what we call like a battle coordinator
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a lot of fun doing it. It was I didn't expect it to be as intense as it was. Managing 3 radios at once, trying to figure out where HRT1 and QRF2 are at the same time.
Yep.
I would say it's like I wasn't stressed out, but it was sure like, oh my goodness, I gotta really step my game up here.
So yeah, for at one instance, I walked into the talk and you were double fisting radios back and forth.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
kind of
I-
sort of training experience did you get out of that? Not get out of that, but where did you sort of know how to do operating radios like that, and as well as like communicating like that? Because it seems like you're a natural at it, but still kind of new to it.
I was in cadets for about 4 years. I didn't do too much radio things in cadets, but I think it just gave me an overall good baseline to go off of
Okay.
for all radio things.
Oh, it's good to know where one gets experience from, and yeah, you're pretty natural at it, and yeah, I was surprised too. I'm like, wow, he's doing pretty well.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just standing opposite the table of him, having him relay the information, we're coordinating both our forces at the same time was amazing. It's like, being being in hot on deployment. Really,
Yep.
it brought back some memories, really fond memories too, and just the call outs were clear, concise,
Yep.
and they were echoed back really well.
Yeah, you're a natural radio operator.
Thank you very
So does
much.
that mean
I know Armistead and I had some good moments in there. We gave each other a couple of high fives and stuff like that when we
Yeah.
coordinated a good attack and all that. It was
yeah, we started popping
it was
beers
a
and
really
giving
fun
high
time.
fives. Definitely think we should put you through a JTAC course after this. It's gonna
I
happen.
like it.
It's gonna happen.
Except we're gonna do it with drones.
Yeah, it's probably safer until you're 100% mobile.
Yeah.
So what are some other good experiences and things that you saw in and out of HQ?
I really liked the perimeter we had this time because I remember last time when Thrasher was trying to get us all on perimeter, half the people were doing their own thing, no one listened. But this time it felt like there was a really, really strong perimeter around us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure there was perimeter, but by the way it sounds like the way everyone was talking, it sounded like we had a really strong one this time.
It sounded like it, but believe it or not, we've had to abandon city. There was only a couple of people on guard, and the only time that we had a proper perimeter
Was the
protecting our
initial
border
start?
was the initial start, but also when SOF finally came back when they are RTB with Kaz is the only time that we actually had a strong perimeter, and it was really good that we set our forces in such a good way and deployed them correctly that we didn't have any issues with the enemy coming over and infiltrating, because if they cut through our lines, we were toast. So that's where
Yep.
a lot of the pressure was on, because even though we didn't have anyone at base, we had so much pressure coming from traveling from north to south and then on that eastern corridor along the creek that we just kept their forces at bay, and we really didn't have to make it a concern. And it was so much of a non-concern that right before the battle for Two Story, I went out.
Yep.
I went out and I didn't even have my rifle with me. Rifle, sidearm, nothing.
I think this was after you left Reese. This was when I
Yeah.
took over the talk, and yeah, Armistead was out there double checking on those guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a firefight and a half over at
Yeah.
over at a two-story, and there's videos out there showing what actually happened inside of it.
Oh,
which is
man.
pretty cool. It's a lot of tracers, guys.
A lot of tracers. I love those muzzle flashes. Oh my god, it was great. Anything from being in the talk and in HQ? Was there any negatives in regards to comms in regarding deployment of all the troops out there? Was there any issues?
Not that I saw. I think I lost contact with QRF2 for a little bit.
That's like the 5th
But-
or 10th time we've said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other
going
than
dark.
that, it was I actually had no problems with the radios. I think the what are they called? The talkabouts. I think they maxed out at a distance though.
No, they don't.
Gotcha.
Mm-mm.
No, they don't max out at distance. You could hear them from one end to the other, and I've tested them out thoroughly here.
Yeah, and
as the radio guy.
That's one of those things where it's like negative command message unclear, and you're trying to hold
Sounds like
them
what
back.
Matt was doing.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and then good old Metro. Command, this is Metro.
He has his hands up. We'll get him next.
We'll
We'll get him after. We'll get him after Cat. Don't worry.
Definitely.
We want to get a separate side.
Oh, yeah.
But overall,
yeah.
how did it feel? Good, bad.
Sim felt pretty good. It was it felt more structured than the last one.
Mhm.
I feel like everybody mostly knew their role and what they were doing on the coalition side.
Right.
I'm not sure about the separatist side, but for our side, it actually felt really structured. Everyone mostly knew their tasks at the time, yeah, I'd say it was a pretty good, English. Sorry, pretty good success.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
input. Yeah, we're looking forward to have you on the next event here.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Got it.
Kat, you had your hands up. Let's grab. Do you want Kat? We got Tony.
We'll grab Cat first, and then
Okay.
we'll grab Metro, because I know he's on time.
Okay.
As well. So Cat.
All right, Kat, come on in. Hello. You're on
Hello.
mute.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
So,
So
I
tell
was
us your role and what what you did for the event, and then yeah, we'll get started from there.
separatist side. I was in quotations hunter, um, and the quotations are very important, but I can't reveal what they're for. But anyway,
Yes. Yes. Out of character, yes.
Yes.
In character, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
You were in my number one spot for.
oh, I was
I
busy the
understand.
whole night.
I understand.
I never fired my gun the entire night,
Oh,
but I
wow.
was damn busy the
So
entire night.
how was this experience for you, especially from the separatist side?
So I know that early on I got disorganized, unfortunately, fairly quickly, and I think that's because there was a misunderstanding um, amongst some of the separatists where the squad names were misinterpreted as separate groups within the separatists. So there was a lot of independent actions happening from the quote groups in the separatists. But it did get sorted out at one point, and then there was better coordination for sure.
Okay.
Uh, I was doing a lot of. I loved walking. I walked all the way up to the city pretty early on. And it was funny because we walked straight through the first line of perimeter guys because we saw them. Nobody said nothing to us,
They didn't
and
even
we got
question you or stop you.
nope. Not even asking
Didn't
for
read the tax off.
identification. Nothing. They just looked at us and we
They
just
look
walked
too
straight
much like
by.
hunters. They just took it literally and like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess they're fine.
Wow. Panthers hunters. All right, let them through.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, look. Yeah, hunters. They've got their orange caps on. Oh, that's a shotgun. That's definitely
They
a hunting
must have
rifle.
mistaken
Nope.
them for
Okay, and they just kind of
admins.
let us go.
They must have mistaken you guys for admins. I wonder if that's a thing.
That could be it too.
Possibly.
Wow.
Okay, so you walked into town. I believe
Got-
I saw you, and we interrogated you for the first time there. I think that was 40 minutes after the event started, I believe, or an hour, I believe, somewhere around there.
I wouldn't go so far as an interrogation. It was mostly just a disarmament, and then I was sitting outside the HQ building, pretty much doing nothing for a good little while.
Oh. Okay.
I myself was doing other things, but that's besides the point. So,
Okay. All right.
but yeah, it was funny because we got all the way up to about halfway into the city before we got stopped by anybody, which I believe was your FBI team, Poi,
Yep.
who roleplayed that absolutely perfectly. That was, and they did for the rest of the night absolutely the best out of anybody.
Okay, that's good. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of them to begin with, so just having to brief them fairly quick, like a fragmented order, before I did my big operation order brief. Yeah, that helped them a little bit in terms of like later on in the game. That's why they were full on at the very end of the game. They knew what they were doing, but the problem was that at that point it turned into a big airsoft skirmish. At that point, where
Right.
they weren't really.
Yeah, at that point it
following.
was just a giant firefight.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
No.
what are some positives that you saw like on their base or anything, or was there like morale? Like when did it really break down? Was it right after dark, or was it because of command and control?
I think there's a combination of factors. Nightfall was certainly one of them because a lot of we were lacking in the night vision equipment
Right.
to some degree.
Right.
Mostly because I think that a lot of people on the separatist teams are significantly younger and don't have the kind of income to burn on a set of night vision. There was some breakdown of command and control, but it wasn't something that couldn't be overcome, which I think eventually it did.
Right.
But I think the morale of we didn't have spotlights to counter night vision, and I think and I know that there was data packets, and we were going to have that kind of equipment if that had gone according to plan. But I think that's mostly when morale suffered. Early on, people were pretty eager and pretty, have a go get it attitude.
Right, right. And then we ended up instigating the ceasefire early.
Hmm.
Go ahead and skipping that scenario, and then we set up all the equipment. And I was surprised because I didn't see it all lit up, and then I left, did some more admin stuff, went back to HQ, did my role a little bit, and then I came back at another point on a medical call, and I was amazed at how well lit up that place was and how quickly. Absolutely amazing. It was lit up like a Christmas tree, I gotta say. It was really
Oh
good.
yeah,
It looked really good, and the fact of how fast you guys probably put that up was a testament to you guys just digging in and working together. So was that from that point on? Was there more cohesion in the group?
Or morale went up
there
at least.
certainly seemed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think having the ability to, um, well, not necessarily, but in our minds, counter the night vision a little bit.
Right.
Certainly did help,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the younger guys who I think early on got super demoralized by not being able to see a damn thing and getting
Right.
blasted
Right.
blasted from someone who's as dark as the night kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So that certainly picked things up a bit, and I think that's where some of the big nice firefights started happening, and I think
Mhm.
people started to like that. So
So we're actually thinking about for the next following events to instill our cadre into locked NPC and leadership roles instead of relying on the player base to kind of come together and form their side. Um, would you say that would kind of correct the misconceptions and the issues with cohesion, unit cohesion?
Someone who's trained
Yeah.
that can actually lead.
I think, yeah, definitely to an extent that would improve the situation. I also think just because it is such a far walk to that AO,
Mhm.
um, giving a little bit of rest time before the game proceeds after getting there, because
Mhm.
we got there, looked at our watches, and went, "Oh, the game started." We had no time to kind of throw off our backpacks, get kind
Mhm.
of set up a little bit, and go.
And
It's
what
literally we got there and went, "Oh, we're going."
and what time was that precisely, if you can recall?
Um, if I can, I want to say shortly after 7.
Really?
Yeah,
After 7?
Because that's definitely not the timeline that we came up with.
because
That's interesting. Like I wonder
I
what originally triggered the first action, because that's definitely not the timeline that we proposed.
yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
I remember that the first data packet we opened and we were already like half the guys had disappeared already.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think they
Um,
just jumped the gun.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
that may have been. I'm not. I'm telling you from what I recall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because our initial timestamp that kicks up the first mission was 1930, so 7:30 and 7:45 is when the first mission should have been triggered, and that would have been at the refugee camp with whoever was staged there only. Everyone that was at church should have been just still setting up camp and then finding that first packet, which was going to be the resource gathering and stealing.
From what I remember is, somebody came running up from refugee and told us that they had seen a large group moving across the field already.
Mhm.
And I think from there was an assumption that the game had already started.
Everyone was hitting their pre-staging areas. Wow. Okay.
Um,
That's
which
unfortunate.
is unfortunate because I think that led to the beginning confusion quite a bit.
Absolutely.
That explains
Okay.
why Lunin was already at our.
Yeah, he was already here 10 minutes into the sim.
Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes after the
And
sim started,
and the
and then that
first
was the first package detail I got for the FBI.
yeah, and yeah, because they stepped off at 10 after. So Looney was already on this side before my first group stepped off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember there was some attempted radio chatter to try and bring everybody back. Hey,
Mhm.
we don't even know what we're doing yet. Can you please come back? And I distinctly remember him being like, nobody's responding to me.
Oh, that's
So
unfortunate.
there is a combination of factors
Mhm.
for the very beginning, but it did. As the game progressed, it got more organized, and it ended up being quite a bit of fun. At least for
Mhm.
me. I
Mhm.
can't speak for everybody, of
Yeah.
course.
We're definitely going to do the initial ruck out. Is going to be completely different for our next one. And then we're going to be just having our cadre play NPCs and team leads. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be very different.
Yeah.
Absolutely. After receiving this feedback, that's awesome. Anything you really love, Kat?
I love the role playing, the LARPing. I'm a D&D nerd. I love that kind of shit.
All about the LARP. All right.
Hands down, I am the same way.
Absolutely love that. I full on fell into the role as me and the other hunter. We just kind of looked at each other, and went, so we're gonna be Hicks, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
I love it.
And oh my god, that was so fun. But I was doing a lot of role playing stuff that he wasn't aware of either because of the quotation marks. But oh, it was fun.
That's good. Unfortunately, he got pulled away far too many times for admin stuff as well, because that was his
Yeah.
other hat he had to fill. Question: next event, will there be more green sludge?
Will it be more? I was actually kind of sad with the amount that was made. I was hoping there was going to be more. There can be more green sludge, but I'm going to need a little pitching in for that because that cost
Absolutely.
me personally about $50.
You
So.
should invite the
Okay.
feds to eat for a feast next time.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I was trying to hand the stuff out, and it was really funny. Most people looked at it, looked at the color, went, "No, I'm okay."
wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But
But
we definitely have something in the works, and it's going to be great, and we could definitely talk about that because I personally took care of the barbecue that was on our end, and that was an endeavor. Oh my gosh.
oh, I bet. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I bet. But no, the green sludge, the toxic sludge with the mystery meat, bacon,
Bacon.
can indeed return. Yep.
Nice. Okay. That's good. Kat, I am so happy that you were finally able to grace yourself with us with your presence in the field. Welcome back. Welcome
Thank you.
home.
It was a long 6 months.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And how's the knee doing?
So, I strained 2 tendons. I'm
Oh,
in
man.
I've got a tensor bandage,
Mhm.
or I don't know what you want to call it, compression sleeve,
Yeah.
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 that I'm having to wear at work right now.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Which I'm sure y'all be able to see tomorrow because I'm stupid and I'm coming out
You still
tomorrow.
coming in?
Oh man.
Nice dedication.
Dedication. Yeah.
Hoorah. All right. Well, I'm glad you're on the mend, and thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming. And we hope to provide you with another exciting experience fairly soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Happy going.
All right. Metro.
Metro.
Or
Yeah. Metro's on
for
time
HRT
constraint.
side. Yeah. All right, Metro. You're coming in. Coming in hot.
Hey, Command.
Oh no.
Hey,
I'm getting
It's
nightmares.
me.
Metro to HQ.
No, I can't sleep anymore. It's not the same.
What's up, buddy?
Hey.
I swear, give him 3 minutes and he'll call back 30 seconds later. Oh.
Yeah, God, that was it. Really got bad at the end of the night.
So tell us your role, what your responsibilities were, and yeah, how it went from there.
Yeah, so my role for the most part, from like the start of the sim to like until like the last couple hours, I was kind of thrust into leading HRT Team 2. Kind of last minute, they were like,
Okay.
"Hey, we got some boys from Kelowna. They've never been in the field. Can you take them out?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You should have seen his eyes. He was
Yeah,
like, "What?"
your eyes lit up. You're like, oh no.
They were actually really good though.
Good. Yeah.
They were like well coordinated. They all had radios
Good, good, good.
and they understood my basic like hand signals.
Wow.
Wow.
And they
That's pretty good.
listened to orders without and like but like not like mindlessly.
Mhm.
Shout out to the Kelowna
They were
boys.
better. They were better than some of the regulars I know.
Ooh, that's It's a burn.
Shots fired.
I mean, fucking QRF2, right?
I'll add that to the list again. Sorry. All right, go on.
Gun rogue.
But yeah, I was a little disappointed because the Black Hawk Down thing didn't end up happening, but getting to lead a small team was kind of interesting. And,
Especially ones that you don't know too. That's impressive. Yeah.
yeah, I kind of had to like learn their names on the go, and like all night I was like trying to struggle. Like, what was your name again? I got it mostly down by the end. But yeah, so like for most of the game, I was leading them just on like little side tasks that HRT Team 1 was too busy to do. We were kind of like the B team. And then at the end, I basically just like once HRT kind of got conglomerated into one bigger team, I was just basically Matt's glorified radio man.
Yeah. I mean, you're responding. Matt should have been responding too.
It's funny. It's like you would be like, all right, you hold here for like a little bit. I'm gonna try and coordinate with QRF forces, and then we will get back to you with like further orders. I'd be like, okay, I tell Matt, and then like not even 3 minutes later, he'd be like, hey, radio command, ask them what they want us to do.
Okay.
It's like, oh, they're gonna fucking love that.
So it wasn't on your own volition. You're essentially being ordered to call back.
You were the actual RTO. Yeah.
like a half and half, but I was just at that point kind of taking orders from Matt.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to eat and deal with a real rookie lieutenant in the unit, and you just gotta suck it up.
Speaking from experience, huh?
Absolutely. So I have a medal waiting for you. I'm surprised you didn't just like stab him.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little tempted to at one point.
Do it.
Not gonna lie.
So, what is like one experience that you can take away from this that was just hands down, like, met your expectations and then beyond?
I was really impressed with Reese's talk. I felt like we were like this time around a very coordinated force.
Good.
Nice.
There was like good communication going on with everything.
Raw.
Aside from that, honestly, just the competency of the guys I was put with was like surprisingly good.
That's good.
On your initial ruck out, how far did you guys get before contact?
We like confirmed contact because there was a couple times where like one of my guys thought they had seen something.
Well, did you engage?
First engage, we didn't actually get into any like shots fired engagements on our initial mission out. So like as we ruck out, we pass by single story, and one of my guys says he sees something, so we like kind of like stop for a minute to investigate. So like that put us a little bit behind schedule. And after a few minutes, we didn't find anything, so we kept going. Then we hooked up with SOF force at second story cabin, and so we let them go over the bridge first.
Which bridge?
Waited a couple minutes.
They went over the wood bridge?
The metal bridge.
Okay, metal
bridge down
At
south.
second
Then,
story,
yeah.
Copy.
I think they might have had a contact at that point. I can't remember for sure, but they might have. They might not have. And then we went over. They told us they were gonna check out, like, just make sure that like second story, like not second story, the fort was clear. So they had us set up, like on the ridge to just watch it for a bit. And we kind of lost comms with them at that point. So we're like waiting, and then where it's like, okay, like we just waited for a while until we were like, okay, it's been long enough, we'll go in, because they had seen someone at fort. So we proceeded with caution, met back up with SOF. They had found that their data packet was stolen,
Okay.
and we couldn't find ours.
Oh, so
Like,
yours was missing
yours
too.
was missing too.
Ours
then.
was gone. We did not find it at all.
Yeah.
We searched because you said it was like outside.
It was out. It was
the
outside.
fort.
It was outside the fort. You guys was outside, and theirs was inside. And
Where did you hide
supposedly, Duxter would have to comment on that, but I believe it was outside, right on the sandbags.
Yeah, no, we didn't see that.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah. So that means that someone took that one, someone took the SOF one, and Duxter reported back to me that it was a separatist who set off one of the claymores at Fort that was meant for the SOF search.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
When they had first
So it
got
was
to
already
the
set off
fort?
even before SOF arrived.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
separatists were already off camp, off the rails, and they were already at Fort.
Oh wow, yeah, because they saw the claymore when they got there. They reported it to us. I
Nice,
guess it
nice.
Gone off at that point.
Nice.
There was a car battery that like we weren't sure if that was like an IED that we needed EOD to take care of.
Did you guys call it in?
I believe we did, or we had EOD look at it, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this, and I think we might have called it in.
You had EOD there?
Yeah, one of my guys was EOD.
Oh,
yeah.
right. I keep forgetting
Yeah, it was
about
Coastal.
those Kelowna guys,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Coastal was EOD, and so was Ty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, we coordinated with SOF. They were going to go down the path to the helicopter, and we were going to split off and kind of clear the bunker and then meet them at the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. We went. When we got to bunker, we saw that SOF was engaging,
Mm-hmm.
and they were actually retreating.
Yeah.
So we started to proceed a bit slower until we were sure that the coast was clear, and then we had. I think at that point there was a fight at. It was either like before we got to helicopter or after we got to helicopter. There was the fight going on at the wooden bridge,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and there we did find our
the last one.
data packet.
So you
So we
found your
grabbed
second
that.
data packet. Okay, that's fine.
That's the
We
second
grabbed
data
that,
pack.
helicopter
Okay.
story, and then we just went back. We didn't get into any.
And that was
proper
the one with
engagements
the,
ourselves.
the dossiers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, that was super helpful
That was
for the
super
FBI.
helpful. Yeah.
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 Yeah. After that, we just immediately returned to base
Mhm.
without like firing a shot.
Okay.
Good.
But
Well-
at least you got your primary objective, and that was to get that intel packet back
Yeah.
into his hands. That was one of the things that I was worried about the most because I was going to allow that one to be captured, and then the separatists would know who they're hunting for and see what happens.
It
'Cause I
was kind of well hidden. Duxter had to point it out to me.
okay. Yeah.
it was like
Well,
it was like right behind me.
it was
I was like looking
in-
everywhere, but like right there.
Was it inside the aircraft in the rear?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
that's
like
what I thought.
it was like in the rear and like hidden like up
Oh,
in
was
like
it
the corner.
inside the
It was inside the
aircraft?
aircraft.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
the last sim, I had someone hid my laptop, and I was worried that my laptop would be missing.
Oh man.
But I found it in there. Oh, it's a good thing someone found it. Yeah, but anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
That rear of that aircraft gets used so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How copy?
Solid.
List me some negatives. Can't beat all positives. Come on.
Negatives?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah,
Let
I
'em
mean,
rip.
just like the kind of lack of coordination that the SEPs had, as well as the sort of almost refusal of some of our forces to like, play along with the chain of command and the role play, just kind of like soured the experience. Like, what was it, QRF2 went AWOL for like 4 hours and wouldn't hail commands?
2 hours.
2 hours, okay.
Yeah.
And that just made it a little more like it made it feel less like a sim and more like a skirmish.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then just like I felt like some of the orders, like events, they didn't really lead anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had us investigate a vehicle and look for like documents or stuff, and we didn't find anything. And they were like, "Okay, just
Which vehicle is
don't
that?
worry about it then." And then that
That was
the pickup truck.
I think that was the tow truck
It just
that
kind of
was in the
not.
game.
It just kind of didn't get used at all.
I had
It
no
was, like,
idea
kind
there
of a
was a
letdown.
tow truck on
I
the.
I called it into admin radio, but I didn't get a response. I'm like, okay, well, and then actually a gravy came in and said that that's a tow truck or something. Yep.
Current film set?
No.
Okay.
I believe his tow truck or something.
think
I don't
it
really know,
was-
but I all I heard in the command radio was a description of a vehicle that's out there, and that was close to two-story open area just to the west of it.
Was it a white Suburban?
It was a white pickup, I think. Or,
Was
like,
it tow
four-door.
truck or?
Not a tow truck. I think it was Gravy's brother was decking it out. I think.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was actually supposed to be if the FBI HRT technical that was supposed to be
Yeah.
used at a later point. It was just pre-staged.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that would have been scenario number 5.
Got it.
Yeah, they got removed.
Yeah. And then other than that, just kind of like the anticlimactic end of the whole event.
Did you get the radio calls where they said that Operation Imminent Resolve is a go? Did you guys get
Yes.
those?
Yes,
Okay.
I relayed that to Matt, and he was like, he was kind of, I think he was kind of weirded out by it. I think we all were, and he just kind of called it off and was like, we're heading back.
Oh,
So that actually is everyone just not assimilating the information then.
Yeah.
yeah. At the end of it, I said, "All go for
Yeah.
church or
Yeah,
attack church."
Because I remember
Yeah.
I made that call three times maybe.
Yeah, I made the call 3 times on the
Yeah.
radio. It would be 5:07, I believe,
yeah,
is what
yeah,
I
the timestamp. Yeah.
timestamp for
Yeah.
me was 5:07. I
Yeah.
marked it down, saying
Yeah.
that we're calling it imminent resolve. Go attack separatist camp.
Yeah, and then around the
Yeah,
same time, I messaged Riot and let Riot know that yeah, it's a go. And then he's like, "Yeah, you better send guys because my guys are getting bored and they said that
Yeah.
they're cold and tired and everything." I'm like, "All right, fine. We're trying to move up the timeline. We made the calls, and then it was anticlimactic. I think just because no one assimilated the information.
Yeah. Matt was like, we don't have enough. Matt just kind of called it off because he was like, we don't. He was like, we don't have enough people to assault church, which I mean,
If
But he
you,
was so eager to
bit
go.
debatable.
yeah, but he's so eager. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys could have formed a fire line, and kind of went from west to east on that line and just moved forward. I know there was a lot more forces up on that ridge.
Yeah,
Then
I
we
was
had,
surprised about
then we
that. There
had,
was like 6 guys also like near the fort.
yeah, then there was
or near the
another 10 or
church.
12 staged at Fort Prairie that could have moved up. And then I know QRF 2 left at 445-5, so you didn't have them, and only
Yeah,
half
they
of
got
QRF
sent up
1
already, and I think
left
they all got killed.
at 5. The other half were still remaining, and they were infield. I believe they were on this side of the Wood Bridge. So you had guys staged in various areas for the push. I'm just surprised that no one coordinated or linked them together, or just responded to the comms for their full send. I'm surprised.
Or if they were stepping off, they should have said they were stepping off to command, so
Yeah.
we would have
It
known
was-
that they were leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Matt didn't want me to call it in. He wanted us to like return to base and figure out what the fuck's going on.
That's a waste.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
told me to
should have just called
not-
it in.
he-
Yeah,
he
the
wanted-
job of
he
the
wanted us
RTO is
to-
supposed to pass info.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Check in first.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No, that's understandable. I mean, it's definitely a breakdown in communication. But you could probably point fingers all day, but it's not going to resolve anything, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not really, no.
Yeah, that's sad. But Metro, always a pleasure. I loved working with you.
I love hearing your voice on
Yes.
the radio.
Maybe a little too much.
Everything
hearing
second.
that.
Everything changed when you radioed it in.
And before you go, can you do one more call out?
Oh no.
Hi, Command. This is Metro. I just want to let you know I saw a really weird bird over there. Blue bird, I think.
Blue bud. That's good. Okay.
Thanks, Metro.
Can we engage? Over.
Over.
It's over.
Loud copy. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Good luck with the rest.
Vote of
Love it.
confidence.
Love it.
Love it. Love
Yeah. All right. We got 2 hands up here. We got Tony. We got Hermit. Should we bring in Tony?
Yeah, let's bring in Tony.
All right, Tony, you're in. Hello, Tony.
Tony.
Hello.
All right. Let us know what was your role for the event and what happened.
I was playing as the SEP's lead,
Okay.
so my first time taking on an actual command role.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it was some parts were a headache, but overall, I would say the experience is not bad. Like, it's pretty much what I expected it to be to some point.
Okay.
Because all night I was pretty much just fidgeting with radios and sitting at my camp. Because I know what was going on.
What was going on?
I had 3 radios set up. I had one on my right, one on my left, and then one in the middle. I had one keeping on with my channel that we actually ran up to channel 12, just because we had radio issues starting at the sim.
Okay.
Then we ran another channel. The other channel was to keep a to actually listen on both of your frequencies.
Okay.
Okay.
So we had both the one FBI and then also as well as one QRF channel. One what was it? One National Guard channel.
What frequency was assigned to you guys?
We were assigned channel 3, but we had radio issues from the beginning because of people running high frequency.
What do you mean high frequency?
Yeah. What do you mean?
High frequency on the radios. Like instead of like on high powered, so they supposed to be on low power. So and then a lot of people were also hot micing. So we ran into a lot of that issue. That's why we ended up changing to that channel later on.
It's just like how we had the issues on the admin channel. Was being
Yeah.
overpowered.
It was there was a comm bleed on channel 2, which means that either someone's using over 5 watts or 2.5 watts at that point. So it's bleeding through the rest of the channels, and then they're using even a taller antenna if they had to, or a longer antenna.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
problem.
Yeah, this is why we advocate for using the standard Motorola FRS radios, and that would mitigate some of the issues you're having with someone using high-powered or low-powered radio.
Alright, now let me go over my descriptive AAR.
Yeah.
Do we start with the timeline, or should we go over the negatives and positives first?
Do you have any questions for him before he starts, or?
No, I want to go through your timeline. What do
Yeah,
you have?
let's hear your timeline.
So normal start was 6:30, so we went over that's off briefing. We rocked in at 7. So between this time, the execution happened due to Luca planting a spy in the Seps. That's why we sent Nick with the letter. So you guys should have received a letter, and that letter was supposed to be intel to let you gather some crucial evidence.
So this kicked off even before you even reached your AO.
This happened after the mess. This happened right after the mess up.
What mess up?
Which mess up?
The mess up at the beginning of the brief, where half of the let me find that. Where the communication for steps was lacking, especially at the start when gathering everyone going over mission briefing and intel. So many of the preppers team left to do their own thing. The exact reason why we called the game pause to gather everyone back at church. And then that's when, so we actually did a radio call then, but then no response. So then we only gathered the rest of the remaining forces at base to go over a bit of the basic intel, but then we couldn't get. So then we just really just pretty much just split at that point. So that's why the chaos happened. So at that point, and then afterwards, the execution happened, which resulted in everything else happening.
Okay.
So between that and then, so then that's why many people left frantically. So that's why church was left undefended between at the beginning of the sim because of the lack of defense we had. That's why the SOF team could easily push up, and then that's why CAD was taken.
So essentially at the start
7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock, you're telling me that someone planted a spy into the Seps.
Yeah, this was way before the sim.
Okay. Who was the spy?
Arden.
Okay. Okay. And then how did that kick off, or how did you guys come to that conclusion?
Uh, that we went over. That was due to a lot of someone leaking evidence in the other side. And then we actually had a whole. So the step side had a whole talk over that. So that's why we came down to our
Did did it,
execution
did all
decision
this
and
did all this take place after 7 or before the game even started?
before the game even started.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we hate is people metagaming. The fact that this wasn't done in the parameters of the game or after the game even started should have been non consequential, or what's the word I'm looking for? Shouldn't even really have mattered until the game actually started. Um, and as a milsim, you're on a strict timeline in the very beginning, and the fact that it started at the time, but you're already making decisions before that time even started, and you're wrecking out, is like a huge no. So I would have to say that the reason why everything broke down is probably because one, metagaming on your side. Two, I guess the unwillingness to either take charge or follow orders, or just to follow what's the information that you're given, not create information on the fly or what have you. That's very unfortunate that that's how it developed. And then I understand that 20 minutes into the sim, you guys decided to launch a nuke.
Oh, all right.
That's
Let's go over
well,
that.
let's roll back on that because that was caused by missing
That was
intel
caused by
packages.
chaos.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so do you know who the person is who
I
took the
know
intel
it.
packages from Prairie's Playhouse and who set off the supposed Claymore IED over at that end too?
That should be one of our. So I sent my recce team around that side
What time?
So this should be at the before everyone was supposed to, before the 7:45. So we were actually walking the clock by then. But then at that point, that was when during the callback. So then I've already sent my group towards Heli to get retrieve that intel.
At what time did you send them though?
Right after 7:45.
So after 740, we sent them to wreck that. That's just interesting because like claymores were triggered, people are outside their AO, and just team leads were told on that side to stay within the confines of church or refugee camp until 7:45. Set up a listening post, pay attention to the events that are happening around you, and then essentially from that scenario the sim starts. And it's unfortunate that that's not how it played out because you guys lost out on intel, resource gathering. That's the reason why that your lights and all that stuff didn't deploy for the first 5 hours of the sim as well.
Yeah.
And then your guys' overall
So
morale then turned around and you weren't able to have the ceasefire at the predetermined
yeah.
time, and that got moved up. That's unfortunate.
And then around that time, so then, because we knew forces were already pushing up the church, and church was pretty much defenseless.
Hmm.
So that's why we deployed the nuke to actually clear away the colonization force, so then Sept could actually have a chance to actually push up. So then, so then around 8 o'clock was when the 5 members of SOF pushed up, and then that's why Kaz was taken as hostage. And then everyone at church was pretty much dead, except. And then during the exact time, we did deploy a cultist smoke, but then the rules of engagement were unfollowed.
Yeah, I think there was a misconception with regards to the cult of smoke. Who deployed smoke first of all? Was it the admin?
No, our yes, it was actually yeah. It was Zongers who deployed the smoke.
Yeah, because all smoke on the event, and it was went over in the briefing, is that it has to be deployed by an admin. One is because of its safety issues and all that.
Yeah.
Two, the footage that was shared, it wasn't properly um, deployed. It was my understanding, and the smoke was not billowing or launched out when said individual was in it. Um, yeah, that's the reason why we only have admins deploy smoke. Um, Safety and security is probably the first reason.
Yeah, and then so after that, 8:15 was regather faction and execute new plan based on coalition movement because we actually had to because that was when we actually have to gather everyone. And then 10:35 was when if I'm getting this right, a break called early due to unbalancing and Seps having trouble being unable to push them out from church. That was first break.
Yep. That's really
And
good though.
then-
I mean, that's really good that around that 8:15 marker there that you guys decided to regather and create a new plan. That's good. That's the start of unit cohesion. That's really good that you guys did that.
And then at 11:50 when break broke off, that's when we got the 35. So that's when we actually got the lights delivered.
Yep.
And then cut off the wooden bridge because of the explosion that happened.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That was perfect. So
Yeah.
then
That would have been triggered at 10 p.m. had you guys executed your data drops
Yeah.
in order. But
And
I'm glad we
then,
could make up for that for you.
Yeah, and then after that, we at 12:45, Seps gathered an operation for Middle Bridge defense to stop coalition force from crossing, execute at the same time setting up the MCCP and then the assault on cabin.
Question: why did you guys wait so long to establish your MCCP? Was it
We had
strategic?
another force setting that up. So we had actually 3 forces going separate sides. We had one side taking the so we had 3 forces going 3 separate ways. One staying back at base for base defense, as well as setting up lights.
Right.
Then we had one forces tasked with moving the MCCP towards prairies to set up the MCCP around that area, and then the other force to start setting up for the defense for the middle bridge. So that's why a lot of the battles happened around that time between this time between 12:45 to 3. So between this time, that's why the 2 battles happened. So one at cabins, and then between this time, the battle of 2-story and cabin. That's when all Seth forces pretty much pushed up to trenches and defended. So
Nice,
around
nice.
that area. So that's
you-
why the 2 big firefights happened in that area.
Yeah, you guys really held that 2-story cabin. To see the amount of coalition forces that had to return to base or return to their MCCP to respawn was a testament of
Yeah,
you guys
I-
like seriously working together.
Yeah, I had QRF1, QRF2 finally called in at that time.
Unfortunately,
and SOF, and as
yeah.
well as Alpha,
Yeah.
and as well as FBI HRT.
Yeah.
Just like rolling through that afterwards.
Yeah. Credit definitely goes to both Looney and Noah holding it down because I heard you were still at base.
No, I was at base the whole night.
Yeah, I know.
I was not coming out because I knew what was happening.
What was
So
happening?
I was like,
What's happening?
I'm gonna stay there.
Got to lead by example, you know?
Yeah, the funny thing is
I
you
gotta
weren't
stay
even
there.
on any of the dossiers.
Nope, he was not.
No, it wasn't.
No.
None of the dossiers had you. The only reason I had you in the arrest warrant at around 4 o'clock was Kaz was basically like out of character at this point. Myself, Kaz was basically saying, "Oh, it was the deputy. It was the deputy." So that's when I signed the arrest warrant at around 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's I think that was the only unfulfilled arrest warrant that we have.
Yeah.
Other than Looney, who's had multiple.
So mad.
It's because of a lot of the messagings, a lot of because so during that whole op, we were treating him as the mailman. So pretty much as our messenger between from getting intel that we want from our base to your base to see if you guys would actually fall for it.
No,
I haven't heard anything.
no. Nope.
You guys did it. You guys were smart about that.
Yeah.
I think my highlights was pretty much the assault on 2 stories and cabins were to fight like all through the entire sim. Like we pushed back with like minimum forces available to us like that whole night throughout that battle.
Yeah, I would say your skirmishers were on point on that one, disregarding RP and radios and stuff. It's basically a nice night game to have at that point. That was the big skirmish, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it
And
was on
then,
video.
the other one was also when the Sips took a heavy stand on defending the middle bridge on the second half of the sim. After the break, after the Witchen Bridge was taken out, they played really well there.
Good.
Okay.
Good to hear.
So
All right, that's good.
that defense from keeping the coalition from pushing up pretty much. That's why we held that side pretty much like really well built in. Because at that point we had our radio frequencies. Because after the regather up, we reset it up all our radio frequencies, get that working. So then command was back on. So then we held that out throughout the night. And then uh so then, so around, let's see, let me walk back. So then it got into the later of the days where, so then, and then around, so after all the fights happened, our numbers actually went down because either people were getting tired or people were getting like really, like, or like injuries happened. So then our numbers started to deteriorate. So we were
What do you
down
mean, like dying as in like leaving the game?
yeah, as in leaving the game.
Did they inform you?
Yep. We got that, and then admin actually took them out.
Okay.
So then after that, around 3:45, people stayed back at base because of tiredness and boredom. So then some people did. We just set back up there. Then at 4 o'clock, we deployed the remaining members at Church of Seps to help at the middle bridge as coalition forces were pushing that point. So once the pushing happened, then forces came back and we were prepared for the last assault defending our land, making sure no invaders could get in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So between this time, Sep forces were waiting for assault to happen, but
I think they finally heard my calls on the radio to hold
Yeah.
Fort Prairie.
yeah. So between this time, the Sep forces were waiting for assault to happen, but never did. Which Sep was down to a running force of 7 to 8 operational people. So we were really down with members. Then people on Sep getting tired of waiting for attack to commence. Then around 5, a surprise attack of a force of 4 to 5 went into church and a grenade went off, killing 2 and walking back the admin.
Okay.
So I think that was probably either the FBI or one of the QRF teams that pushed up at that time.
I think it was QRF 1 that pushed in.
Yeah, which got the surprise thing happening.
Yeah, you guys got the suicide bomber on them, and I think that's when they left afterwards. 15 minutes before 5. That's the last report I got.
Yeah.
Although
But then,
they weren't really reporting back
then-
anyway.
For around that time, when we were actually setting up, we were actually so our plan was actually to shut off all the lights to make sure that everyone was thinking, oh, why did the lights go suddenly out? And then once you guys started pushing up, the lights would turn back on, and then everyone would have to adjust to that attack.
I mean, that's a valid strategy for
Yeah.
To then
NVGs.
conduct.
That was great.
Because we were also down members, so then we were like.
The best
wanna go
defense
do that.
for NVGs basically put those lights in front of your defenses, not behind.
Yeah.
When you put your lights behind your defenses, then you silhouette everything in front of it.
Yeah.
So put your lights in front
Yeah.
and shoot
then
towards
that's
it.
why at 6 o'clock we called it Sib in, because as people on set were getting tired and many didn't want to play it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my overall on timeline.
If you could change
but-
anything about leadership and deployment, what would it be? If you had to change anything.
Tony?
I feel like employing some people with better experience would definitely help, especially like playing more like we have like admin people actually lead like in command control.
Mm-hmm.
So like actually having like what you said, the cadres.
Yeah.
That would actually
Okay.
help big time.
All right. Well, that's gonna be something that we're definitely gonna focus on for the next event and change things up.
Let's see I feel like something else that could work on was ticket numbers. Like they could be a bit more balanced, a bit more balancing on the
What was
ticket
the
numbers.
actual numbers for both sides then?
It was supposed to be 30 for SEPs and 42 for coalition forces.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that huge of a difference.
Not huge, but they had attrition, injury, and then no shows.
Yep.
There was quite a few no shows this time around. And that's another reason why ASG's small group got deployed out there. Shout out to the
Oh, shout out to those guys. Those guys put in work,
yeah, they did. And I
big time work.
after they helped you guys out, definitely saw a different style in gameplay from you guys because I was on the front line watching, and you guys did really good after that.
Yeah, and then so I would say the roleplay factor was actually okay, but very lacking compared to like the first sim.
Okay.
Were you
Then,
at the FBI
but
base?
But then what I would have to shout out would be the FBI HRTs, hunters, and then the cultists and some preppers. Like their roleplay were on point throughout the whole sim.
That's good to hear.
Okay. All right.
Um,
And last question for
then-
you. How much leadership experience have you gotten beforehand or before this event? Did you have any before, or was it something that you jumped into and wanted to do, or?
I mean, like quite limited, as like not much people were actually thinking of taking on that role.
Okay.
So
Well,
then
I mean,
was like,
hands off to you because
I might as well
you
take
you
the
jumped in.
opportunity and
Yeah, you
jump
took the
in, 'cause-
opportunity and took the grunt the the blunt force of like either failure or
Oh,
success.
absolutely.
And like I said at the very beginning, if you take these roles, prepare to fail.
Oh,
Because
exactly. And it's a learning experience.
It's a learning
And-
experience.
And the community is only going to get better and better, after every single event and the roll up to said events. It's the same thing when we get deployed. You have a roll up phase to where you train. You learn, you do other aspects of your deployable kit, so to speak, and then you go from there. And that's super important. And as long as you have a takeaway from this and you learn something from it, that's all anyone could really ask for, because you know that the next time around it's going to be different. It's going to be
You've learned so much already, and
Yeah.
you're gonna take away from this is like, okay, don't do that, do this. I could do this better, and then
Yeah,
just
that's why for like the next couple sims that I'm going to, I'm taking on like squad lead roles, taking on like that role instead of like actually taking on one of the major roles, so just to like
Yeah.
get to know like more of the action gameplay.
absolutely.
How like
Yep.
the whole command structure works.
All right, that's
So,
awesome. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. Tony, one last thing. Oh, we got a mic. One last thing, Tony. If you could come visit me on a Saturday or Sunday. Hold on. Wait for the bike. If you come visit me Saturday or Sunday, Tony, I'm gonna give you a nice prize because you jumped in as basically a commander for the SEP. I'm gonna give you a nice prize. It's gonna be a Ranger Handbook, 2017 edition, brand new. I bought it just for a little prize because I know you were taking a lot of heat. But if you jumped in and wanted to experience this, without a lot of experience, then I'm gonna give you the handbook, which basically taught me everything I need to know about leading, troop leading procedures, which is basically chapter 1. And if you go through that, it'll teach you the fundamentals of how it is to lead a entire platoon of Rangers. So, yeah, come visit me. That's your prize. I mean, it takes someone to jump in there and with no experience and just risk it all.
Absolutely.
Right? So, yeah, come visit me. That's yours to keep. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, and we have one last person here, Hermit. Okay. Oh, did you not have your hands up anymore? Oh, he does. Okay. And last person, here we go, Hermit.
Hey, Noah.
Hello?
Hello, Noah.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can hear you. Let us know what your role is, what your position is in the sim, and give us a little bit of a after action report.
All right, so I was the prepper lead. it was definitely interesting for sure. When we got in, we rocked in, and basically as soon as we rocked in, like 4 or 5 of my guys had disappeared, and turns out those were the guys who set off the claymores at Prairies.
Ooh, now we know. All right.
Yeah,
Now we
Do we
know.
have
yeah,
names
no,
or do we remain
I was,
anonymous?
I was gathering all my guys, and all of a sudden I was missing a bunch of people, and then I only found out after. Me and Riot had went and tried to find them, and we kept radioing. I probably put out like 20 calls over the radio. Wouldn't respond. I knew they had radios. We set them up like 5 minutes before. The only way I found out about this was they came back after they died to the claymores.
Insubordination.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
they are preppers. I don't blame them.
No,
They just
totally.
didn't know their own.
But that's one thing. I mean, it's a civilian force.
Yep.
They're not going to have unit cohesion. Number
Nope.
one.
That's the point of preppers. Yeah.
They
And
may buy
separatists.
all the gear, all the kit,
Yep.
but they're not going to have the training.
Yep.
And I think that's
I mean,
prime
that,
example.
that makes sense. It
No,
just
absolutely.
threw something in our plan, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now we know.
Please
All right.
continue.
Yep. So then after that, we had we moved down to, I think it was about 5 or 6 of us. We moved down to Refugee, and we were just holding there. And then that's when we had seen all the smoke from heli. But then after we saw that, we saw all the SOF guys, and I'm assuming they were SOF guys, moving up to the helicopter. And so we went and tried to engage them, but we ended up losing Nick and 1 or 2 other guys. So we ended up having to pull back to Refugee.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what time was that around? Like 7:25, I'm guessing, or 7:30. Is this?
We had moved, so we moved down to Refugee around 7:30 after
Oh, okay.
opening the data packs, and then we were waiting for the queue to move because we were told that there would be some sort of signal, and that we had to be aware of it and keep a lookout for it. We decided to move down to Refugee, and then that's when we saw the smoke. But then we saw SOF moving up, and then we moved to engage them. No, it wasn't SOF. It was because there was Luca, we believe. Yeah. So we had engaged them. We lost Nick and a couple other guys. So we had to pull back. And then we were holding the wood bridge for a little bit. And then sort of everything went to shit after that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because we lost our comms because we had we were picking up a bunch of radio calls for EOD. So they were using our frequencies, and so every other frequency we went on, they were also using.
Oh wow! So there's a lot of sharing and comms bleeding over.
Yeah, so we went through about, like, we kept moving. I think we were on 3 originally. Then we got calls on EOD on 3. So we moved to something else. We moved like 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
And every single time there was
chatter.
Chatter, yeah. So
And you guys were using the Motorola, correct?
So me, Tony, Prax were using Motorola's. I think there was a couple other guys with like Motorola's as well, and then there was a couple of just like the standard Boafang.
Yeah.
Not the UV5Rs, just the 888s.
Oh really? Okay.
So it's just like there's no screen there. You can't program it. It's just the channel one.
Yeah, just the channel one. And then so you guys decided to go into the higher channels?
Yeah, we went on to what did we try? We tried 16 at one point, I think. That still had chatter.
Yeah.
It was like every single channel we went on.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the roll up to the sim, I went out with a Motorola and I kept testing channels and walking the property line, and I noticed how there's so many people using the higher channels in the area, and that's why I chose the lower ones because lower chance of chatter. Most people just go for the higher ones anyway. Like go the frequency range and all that. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that was the number one concern. Is anyone who has the church AO, it's comms, it's data, and its cell phone connectivity is really awful depending on who your plan is with. Yeah, it's a really tough go. It's definitely a challenge, and I'm glad you stepped into that role. and really, stepped up to the challenge and like really excelled at it. Anytime that there was like some major conflict and fire, I saw you there, and that was like that made me like super stoked. Tell me about the conflict at Two Story.
Oh God. So
Yeah,
we
after seeing
had
your video, that was I knew how many
yeah
men were against that one machine gunner.
Yeah.
That made a difference.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I was so my I had we had two MGs for the night. Mine went down earlier in the night. We had moved up to we were moving towards prairies to go and see what was happening, and we had ended up getting contact with we believe National Guard, and we ended up getting in contact, and Nick ran in front of the MG, ended up lighting him up, and then the MG broke.
Oh
The
wow.
piston exploded.
Oh,
Oh
So
man.
so if that hadn't have happened, we would have had two LMGs in that window. But so we had moved up. Uh, we took the metal bridge. We slowly moved up into two-story, and then we got up there. We cleared it all out. Me and Nick set up the MG in the top window, and then all we saw was all these white lights turning on. And so then we started shooting, and then we started getting suppressed. So we had to take cover, and it was just people throwing handfuls of rounds through the window.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could describe it.
And that's really
There was
unfortunate because like when you guys rolled up to Two Story, did you see anyone like any adversary forces in your vicinity?
so when we were at the metal bridge, we saw guys near playing with white lights that were like searching the river,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
was it. And so when we had got up there, we were just setting up defenses, and then all of a sudden we saw all these white lights, and then all these rounds coming in. It was ridiculous, but we held them off for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you did.
You did.
Yeah, you did. My main focus for that night, I took over TACCOMs from 12 all the way up to like whatever time we ended. All I was hearing, and because QRF 1 and 2 was missing, and then all of a sudden they came back because they wanted some action, I guess, and
Yeah.
they just wanted to confirm if someone was over at Two Story, and I'm like, nope. I got no men at Two Story other than a small contingent HRT that was looking at the vehicle. That was
Yeah. Yeah. That was it.
it. Yeah. And then that's when the other day I saw the video, or the next day after the event, I saw the video of what was actually going on. I'm like, yep, I knew it. Force
Yeah.
multiplier, MG, and then that was a lot of tracer rounds.
That was beautiful. Just
That was
seeing those
beautiful. I
multipliers.
love it.
Which
love it.
video was it? Was the one of Arden, or was it the one of the
Both of you.
me with
Both
the
of you
F1?
guys.
Both of you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. We had so we kept holding them off, but every couple of minutes, all these white lights would go on, and we had to just take cover because I had guys on the stairs covering the doors,
Yeah.
and they were getting hit with all the ricochets.
That's QRF 1 that was there with
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
light. They had no NVG capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went through an entire box mag on the LMG
Of
in those two
of
tracers and
tracer beef.
yeah.
Wow.
4,000 rounds.
How are you gonna financially recover from that?
Yeah. At least they're not
Yeah.
real rounds.
Yeah, thank goodness. That's just one thing. I mean, the light discipline. When I
No, they were good.
They were good,
Yeah.
but then when it came to coalition forces, like I said, I left HQ and I walked the whole way there without any sidearm or weapon, whatever. Made it there fine, and the reason why I made it there fine was, and I just had my small green pocket flashlight.
Yeah.
Is because I could see everyone's lights.
Yeah. So you just walk
constantly.
towards it. Yeah.
And then I'm just like walking and I'm zigzagging off of them, and at the same time they're also lighting up their own forces.
Yeah.
Like we had the HRT technical stage there, and they kept illuminating it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, they are gonna ruin the surprise and the raid. And I'm just like, oh man, the grunt in me, the whole grunt's perspective is just like, I'm like, oh man, I just want to go over there and yell, like, what's your
Knife
malfunction?
hand.
Totally knife hand him. But it was great because that was helping the separatist side, and I was
Yep.
like, I have a soft spot for them, and it was great because they got to see like where all the enemy movements were, and then just when seeing you guys offload, oh my gosh. Okay, question is, for everyone watching, listening, what have you, how many of you encountered Rainbow that night?
Rainbow was playing.
I didn't know he was there until you told me the next morning.
That's amazing. So the whole thing, so the local legend about the drummer man, like all the barrels, they ting at night.
Yep,
And-
I heard them.
But a bunch of them, when they go off, it sounds like someone playing the drums.
Yep.
So Rainbow shows up after dark, all black kid with his plague mask, and he kept playing that eerie soundtrack he has. So his goal throughout the entire night was just to eerie, play the boogeyman, play the Mothman out there, and just scare everyone. A lot of people didn't realize he was there. Sometimes some people were like, oh my God, I got shot or I got hit. Something hit me. I'm out. What was that? They don't know. That was Rainbow.
Oh.
So during the Assault at 2 story, Rainbow was on the roof, awning. People were trying to make entry, and he's hitting Coalition and SOF, or Coalition and HRT guys. And they're like, who's up there? And it's him with one of his many swords. Thank you, Rainbow. And he's hitting them with it. He was on the roof during that engagement, and no one saw him practically. And I'm there like, oh my God, I'm looking over at Jim, Graves' brother, and I'm like, what is Rainbow doing? And he's getting people out. And then finally, with the last push, you guys threw some gas out. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Riot had come and gave me two red smokes to throw out the window.
Okay.
And so I popped them every couple. I used one, and then I waited probably about another 10 minutes and threw another one out.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like the whole thing with Rainbow, I kept hearing that whistling sound, and I kept yelling at my guys to shut the fuck up, turn the music off, because I couldn't focus. Because I was waiting for all these lights, because I was just scanning with the MG, and then all of a sudden I hear this whistling. So I'm yelling at my guys downstairs to shut up, and whoever has a speaker, and they're all like going like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
No, that was Rainbow.
Yeah. So
Stalking both sides for the remainder of the evening.
You don't need night vision. You just need rainbow stealthiness.
You do.
Jeez.
Scary.
That is scary, guys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put a hit on him. Local
so in the
Mothman.
upper window, we had the MG.
Yeah.
We had Nick with my DMR.
Yeah.
And then we had Arden with an AK.
Yeah.
And so we would wait for the lights to turn on, and then we would start shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But like the whole thing about you saying like silhouetting, I couldn't see any silhouettes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I saw was each individual light. I didn't see the outline of people at all.
Oh, okay.
I was just shooting in the general direction of where the lights were.
Perfect. Good, solid plan.
So yeah. But then we had moved up eventually into the trench in front, and we had probably about 5 or 6 guys, and we had 4 mags. The MG probably had 50 rounds left. There was like nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were waiting, and one of my guys stood up, and all of a sudden, all we can see in the distance is all these muzzle flashes.
Yeah.
And so they were probably about 15 feet away from us. And so we started calling Tony, like, send reinforcements, bring us ammo. We got mags.
I think that's
loaded up already.
SOF.
Need to bring them to us. And he was like, no, I can't come. And we were all like freaking out, waiting. So we were in there for probably about 45 minutes, waiting for the SOF guys. We think it was SOF to come in.
It is them.
Attack us. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was terrifying because we weren't sure if we had peeked our head up if we were gonna get shot. So I put my helmet on top of my rifle and started sticking it up out of the trench to see what would happen. But at that point, I think they pulled out.
Solid, man.
That's pretty good.
Done that lots of
So
times.
they, from the commander's perspective at that time when I was leading at that time, that would be a bulge that they caused. Yeah. I knew there was reports of 2-story, and then that one faltered, and then they're bandaging up. But I think they punched through 1 story and in the trench.
Yeah.
And they created a bulge, basically.
Yep.
And I had guys, my LPOPs, report that they heard someone shooting at trenches. And I'm like, how far did they go down? And I don't have any troops there other than SOF. They didn't really tell me where they were. Yeah. And hearing that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to send like whoever else as base defense, Logan, and see if they could punch through.
No, definitely.
Yeah, and then by that time, I think they reported nothing was there, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess already 45 minutes or 40 minutes or 30 minutes have passed already and you guys already left that point, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
eventually had to pull out because we got sick and tired of Tony saying that he's coming to get us, but then ended up not. So we ended up having to pull out
It's because his legs weren't
because
working.
we had no ammo left. We
Yeah.
had,
No, definitely.
like I said, we had like 4 mags, and the MG was basically dead. So we ended up having to pull back to church, and then after
Yeah.
that, my guys pretty much stayed there for the rest of the night because at that point we had been out for about 3 or 4 hours,
Yeah.
and we were just completely exhausted. So I think me and a couple other guys ended up falling asleep for about an hour, and then after that, when we woke up, the sim was over.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you guys
Yeah,
were back
but
a bit.
like we were waiting for FBI and stuff to come to the church. We were waiting, and then eventually it got boring. So we were like, "Okay, like wake us up if anything happens." So
Yeah.
Oh, Matt.
It was in process. It was in process. I mean, we called, Operation Imminent resolved as a go, and we tried to push them. It just kind of fell on deaf ears, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're more
Yeah.
worried about getting hit. But here's the thing, you guys couldn't move your MCCP across the river. We couldn't move ours either. They could have easily put it somewhere where it's not too far of a jaunt.
Yeah.
Back over the river, respawn, get back in the fight. Unfortunately, I didn't have an admin ready because I know you guys were calling for an ammo drop, which we were going to allow the admin to essentially just take like a bag of BBs, whatever, and take it to your MCCP so you can reload there. But I had too many admins being sent out, including myself, on various medical calls and other things, and escorting people in and out. That we
Yeah,
just
that's why
couldn't get.
I was at the talk all night at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got my steps in.
yeah, I walked
20K
about
that night.
20K
Yeah, I got my steps in too that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at my phone and I had about 20K,
Yeah.
like 20 kilometers on my phone.
Nice.
So
That's a good way to
it
get
was
warm.
a good workout.
Totally.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't walk the next day.
Oh, dangerous.
I didn't even fall asleep till 8:30 the next night. It was just brutal. Some positive takeaways. It looks like you had some serious engagements and some good experiences. Is there anything you would have changed, or would have had us change to make it an even better experience?
I think it was pretty good. I don't know. I know a lot of people said it, probably the balance on the teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, otherwise it was pretty good. And maybe the whole thing with the radios, with all the like the channel bleed and stuff. It was brutal because we went up without comms for about 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up going over to Discord and then also using a group chat.
Mhm.
So
That's good. Good on you guys for
That's
adapting.
good.
Yeah.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. How was your connectivity with your guys' phones on that side of the property?
it was fine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I did experiment with this, and I used the lowest bit rate, and it does work.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
There is a Discord channel in Pantherasoft community that you could the voice channel that you could use that is the lowest bit rate you can, and you will transmit just fine.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much,
Awesome,
Noah.
Noah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm glad you had fun, and you guys gave me a hell of a time as a commander at that time to basically
man.
push you guys at 2-story. I didn't know what was going on because my team did not give me a whole bunch of reports other than telling me if there was someone at cabins, and I'm like, no, there's no one at cabins. Can you give me more information?
Yeah.
And no information came. Just a lot of firing. That's
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember on Coalition Radio, it's like, we're being engaged. Oh my God, shots fired. It's anarchy. That's about it.
Send me more
Yeah,
details.
Between me, Nick, and
Yeah.
Armin, we probably went through about 3,000 rounds in that
Ooh.
that engagement.
Yeah, I saw that video. I was thoroughly impressed.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Noah.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Let's see here. I do have written ones here if you want to read through them, but I think we should be. I think we're good. We got the whole story here, honestly. Yeah. For me, it went pretty well. As the FBI, I got the story pretty much built up. Other than again, I'm not revealing anything other than the chemist. I have no idea who it was in character.
The chemist and arresting Looney.
And Looney was arrested multiple times because he was again the messenger, but we knew he was connected well. and he kept lying. So every time he kept lying, we just go back to his previous statements
Yeah.
from his interrogation. It was hilarious.
Add on those charges.
Yeah. But other than that, I tried to play the LARP as much as possible until you from all the multiple actor action requests that we read, it kind of just broke down, at around midnight, and then kind of I was expecting that. I was expecting that to sharply fall because of people's energy levels, right? You can't just LARP forever, right? But that's why, that's why I took over a little bit of the command there at night, and then trying to hold these guys back, but not getting any reports from again QRF 1 or 2, and they just kept pushing it. They just kept reporting that they were in different locations every time they reported in.
And some people, even though they know the field, when it comes to using a map to try to
Explain where they are,
it was great because like I remember at one point we're looking at, we're like, oh okay, I'm in grid Bravo going north to south, and I'm at here, and then he's like, but we see movement on the wooden bridge, and I'm like,
and then I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Wooden bridge?
Yeah, because the wooden bridge, that's Geronimo.
Yeah.
They're in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
I think was that Crayon?
I believe it was Crayon.
I believe it was Crayon.
Yeah, he didn't know the map as much as.
I think he was holding the map like this.
Dude,
that
again,
makes so much more sense.
Yeah, someone probably drew him a crayon map too.
Absolutely. But no, I think we got some really good actionable intel.
We got some good feedback as well from all of you guys. We'll listen to it.
Definitely, because it's a learning experience for everyone. It's hard to hold people to a military standard that haven't gone through the training. So
it is a mil sim.
Yeah,
yep.
It's a mil sim, but we definitely need to train up the community a bit more. Maybe perhaps be a little bit softer and allow a more even play field. That's really hard for me to do, though.
I don't know. You don't play fair.
No, not absolutely. Absolutely.
The military doesn't play fair.
No, and the mayor knows this because the first sim I was a doctor, and I put a grenade in his box of candy. And I told him, hey, hold this.
Oh, we're playing that type of game.
Yeah, definitely. But we have some things with the works. I want to thank everyone who came to the sim. That's great. If you didn't make it, we're doing courses, we're doing events. I mean, it's the sky is the limit, really. And thank God, airsoft has been removed from Bill C-21.
Oh yes, it has been, and I was happy on Thursday when that was announced. Long story short, it's been 3 years, and now it's finally been removed because of one amendment.
Yeah.
Thanks to our NDP partners.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I got beer to drink.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to close this off early then. All right. Guys, thank you very much. This has been a first podcast segment of BCAMF.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get soon to diving into more deeper podcasts as well.
Yes.
We'll get to hear from you and other audiences, and as well as other people that want to talk about their experiences
absolutely.
and airsoft and military and training.
Training and what's going on in the world and everything. Yep. A grunt's perspective. Stay tuned.
There you go. All right. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.